Lunges all the way. Hands up. Going down. Just one down, two. And we all the way down.
Okay, so knowing how to count in Korean is obviously very important. In our school, to be a black belt, you have to know how to count to 10.
Count to 10. Go. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열. Then you want to switch. Lunges, take that aside.
Okay, but we're going to hold off on the counting. We'll just keep stretching. Focus on the arms, right? So as a referee, what is the number one rule or number one concern you have as a referee? Say it again. Safety. Safety first. Always number one. We don't want our athletes leaving the tournament with broken bones and cuts and scrapes, especially when it's avoidable. Keep going, Mark.
Everyone stand up. Sure. Go back to arm stretches. I just do 20 jumping jacks. Ready? Go.
Mark, this. Pull here. Stop the jumping jacks. This. Focus on arms and wrists. Okay. Of course, there's times when people get injured. That comes with the territory, right? This is a combat sport. Sparring is. Some say it's not. Okay. But we need to protect. We're not here to protect the athletes. We're here to be safe. There's plenty of room on this side, ladies. Right over here. Line up. And then after safety, what do you think is next? Fairness. Right? You better be fair. I don't care how well you know or don't know the athlete, the coach, the master, the tournament director, the parents. It doesn't matter who's standing over your shoulder. It doesn't matter if someone told you earlier, make sure our school wins every match. Okay, if that's happening, you probably have a problem there. Okay. If you in Pumse, there's 3 judges. So if there's the competitor is anyone you know, friend from high school, previously in your dojang, don't be a Pumse judge. We have at least 4 or 5 per ring, so there's no reason to have that. And especially in sparring, you cannot be a center referee if you know either of the competitors. Keep going, Mark. Even if they're both your friends, or they're both from the same school, or they're both from whatever, you shouldn't be a center referee. We don't want any judges or competitors or parents walking away going, they picked their friend to win. And I've seen it many, many, many times. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's the worst thing in the world as a referee when someone goes up to you and says, you picked them because they're from your school or whatever. Just be very careful. And especially for sparring, if you see someone sitting on the edge of the mat, maybe getting ready to come in, and you recognize them, tell your ring captain, sir or ma'am, I'm friends with this person or something. Okay. Now, the idea when I assign the rings to everyone is to have a variation. So there might be 2 of you from your own school in a ring. And if that's the case and it's someone, and there's just no way to get around judging them, maybe have them go to another ring. Just go to the ring. The ring captain can walk over to the other ring captain and say, can we give you this one? We're not independent over here.
Everyone switch.
Okay. If you have any doubt at all, just say something. And the ring captain will decide. And when it comes to safety, the medics are important. They're an important part of safety. And we're going to have some interaction later with the medics and some practice. But don't be afraid to use the medics, obviously in sparring. Especially if they're younger. Again, we don't want someone, especially a young kid, saying, yes, I can fight. And it's obvious they can't. So if you think you need a medic, just call the medic. Don't even think twice about it. Keep going. And if you call the medic, you have to let the medic come out and finish. Okay? So an example is the competitor maybe gets kicked kind of hard, falls down, and you've already called the medic, and he stands up and he says, I'm ready to go. No, you call the medic. Because unless any of you are in medical school or doctors, you're not medics. You can't judge you can't judge the athlete. I've seen that many times where the center referee will say, oh, it took too long, or you don't have to come in. No, if you call the medic, there's a reason for it. Okay. So far, any questions about what I've just talked about? Okay, and feel free to ask questions today. We're going to be here for a long time. Ask questions. I know there's several of you that came here with questions. How do I do this? When do I do that? What do I do in this situation? Feel free to ask. It doesn't mean I know every answer, but feel free to ask.
How about you? Reach the sky and reach the ground.
We're going to get started. You come out so
Side.
I need to introduce the Grandmaster. Oh, well, sorry. Grandmaster Yang.
Okay, what can you do? Rock.
Okay, let's stop with the stretching. Everyone face the instructor. Chariot, in front. Chariot, Kunye. Okay, so we're going to get started. So if everyone can turn over here to my right, this is our tournament director, Grandmaster Jin Ki Lim, and next to him is Grandmaster Yang. And let's everyone chariot, bow Kunye.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Enjoy the seminar today. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Let's all turn to our left, face the office. This is Master Lim. Everyone chariot, Kunye. Okay. Sharon.
Let me take a lot of pictures. So,
Introduce us.
Everybody facing our referee chairs.
Both of them.
Both referee chairs. And Taekwondo.
Okay, so this is Master Todd Peterson. He's our referee co-chairman, as well as myself, Master Grant Miller. And we're here to help you learn as much as we can. Again, ask questions. There's no dumb questions. You should see I ask questions all the time, and that's a lot of times that's the only way to learn. Okay, so we started at 1, and we're going to go all the way till 5 o'clock. And the goal is to keep doing something the whole time, whether it's learning or stretching your mind or your legs or your body or something else, okay? If you're just sitting there thinking, this is bored, I'm not doing anything, then it's your fault. Stretch, pull your legs in, touch your toes, stretch your wrist. Everyone understand?
Sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk for a little while, so feel free to sit down. If you need to lean against a wall, feel free. If you wanna stand, you can. And we're all adults here. If you need a restroom break, it's right over here. You don't have to ask. If you need to get a water break or something, you just go ahead and do it. Don't need to ask me anything. Okay, so we're going to talk about the basics. And we're going to talk mainly about sparring today. We'll have a little session about Pumse later. Okay, so protective equipment. Everyone obviously has to wear headgear, chest guard, groin guard, mouth guard, forearm protectors, shin and instep protectors, and gloves. Okay, there's going to be 2 world-class rings. If you're in a world-class ring, everything has to be followed. We're not making exceptions. In the color belt rings, we make some exceptions sometimes, but there are certain things we never make exceptions on, okay? Everyone has to have a mouthpiece, period. We're not talking about retainers. We're not talking about these little flimsy things. We're talking about something that goes on your upper teeth. If they have braces on the bottom, they have to wear a bottom mouth guard. This is mandatory. There's no exceptions. It doesn't matter that coach says, well, kid can't breathe. Okay, then he doesn't fight. Okay, they should know this by now. It's in the book. Every tournament requires this. Okay, and if it's braces on the bottom, it can be double-sided. double-sided or two-piece, that doesn't matter. And it's amazing how many times a competitor will say, oh, I don't have the one for the bottom. I say, okay, goodbye. And then they go to their friend and come back 30 seconds later and they have it. So all we have to say is go get it. Because if they go back to their parents and they say, well, you just threw away your money, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So they'll always get them. I found that out. They'll always get them. Okay, the headgear color. If it's white, it's fine. But if it's a color, blue or red, it has to match to the chest gear. There's no exceptions to that. I don't care. The little kid comes out and says, this is all I have. Sorry, maybe you can ask someone else at the edge of the mat. It's way too confusing for a referee to press when you got a red and a blue, or a blue and a red. And it's amazing how fast they will go and borrow one from someone else sitting there. Or they come in a group, they come in a team, and they go to someone else on their team. 30 seconds later, they come back with their matching headgear. Okay, that's a rule. Now, sometimes they come out with all blue dobok, and they have a red chest gear. No, switch the chest gear. Switch the names on the paper. It's completely insane when they got all red and they're wearing blue. How do you score it? It's impossible. Okay. Now, if they're both wearing blue, all blue, and that happens, okay, someone has to have a red. Okay, but you're allowed to switch the colors. It's not that big a deal to switch the colors. Okay. In the world class division, it has to be red or blue, and it has to match. Okay, and most world class know that. They come with both headgear. Okay. In this case, world class, we're going to have electronic headgear, so we know it will match. Groin guard for females. Okay. It's in the book as a requirement, and I want it to be a requirement. But I understand not everyone understands that. So what I frequently say is, the coach will say, well, she doesn't have one. I say, go find one. The vendor is upstairs. They can take 30 minutes, have another match. They can go buy one. Every once in a while, they just can't. They can't figure it out. It's the end of the night, and you want to have the match, have the match. But if we let the girls get away with it, they'll never come with groin cups. They have to wear them. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. In the color belt rings, if they don't have gloves, it's okay. We want them to have everything for safety, but it's okay if they don't. Okay, so that's protective. And everything I'm reading from, I emailed to all of you, and there's also a link if you need them. Okay, so inspection. Inspection is inspecting the athlete for all their gear. You're inspecting them at the ring. Girls should inspect girls, boys should inspect boys. And when you inspect, stand up please. When you inspect, there's no need to touch. You go like this, stick your arms out. I can see because it pulls up. Usually it pulls up, and you can see. You can see their gloves. You can see their nails, okay? Now, sometimes the nails are a little bit long. You tell them to go like this. If you can see the nail over the fingertip, it's too long. And if it's too long, you say, okay, go clip your nails. And it's amazing how many of them will come back 10 minutes later with clipped nails, okay? Now, the medics may have nail clippers, may not, but this is their responsibility. Most of them people here are not first-time fighters, okay? Then you say, hit your cup. And this is where the girls typically go, huh? Because they don't know. And then you say, go like this. And then you can see the instep and the shin guards. And if you can't, say, pull it up a little higher, okay? And then you go behind and you check the hair. For boys as well, boys have things in their hair. If it's in the hair, it has to be soft, okay? Stay there. This is not soft. Like this little ribbon is soft. The little ribbon's soft, those scrunchies or something are soft. But if there's a little piece of metal, no. It doesn't matter how small it is. They got to take it off. Okay? Definitely no earrings, boys or girls, no earrings, no nose rings, no tongue rings, no jewelry on their face at all. No glasses, no sports goggles, no nothing. There might be one competitor where we're making an exception, but you'll know about it if they're in your ring. Okay? So when the kid says, well, I really can't see without my glasses, okay, well, you're going to get kicked more. Or what I usually say to them is, they didn't disappear when you took your glasses off. And then they get out and they fight and have a good fight. So the coaches and the parents should know this, okay? It's not our job to teach them the rule book. It's our job to make sure they have the equipment, okay? And did I forget anything? Okay. So again, there's no need to touch. Put your arms out. Oh, mouthpiece. In the inspection, you got to see the mouthpiece, okay? It's amazing how many times it's still in their case, okay? Stick your arms out. We used to do this, and then we used to touch people's legs. We don't do that anymore, okay? There's no reason to. You can put your arms down, okay? The intention is to have at least one female in each ring, one female referee. If there's not, let me know. But again, females inspect females and males inspect males. Any questions on that? Sit down. Okay.
Well, here's this note, real quick. Ideally, when you bring a bracket up, if you're prepping your next match, you inspect everybody in the back together real quick to make sure the mouthpieces or what gets lost or hard to find juices. If you get ahead of time when the practices come in, that'll save time when they just come up to the match settings. Because when they come up to ready, they're ready to fight ideally.
Yes.
If you do all this pre-inspection when they're coming to the ring, that'll expedite and move the matches quicker.
Yeah, so ideally we're going to have 5 in every ring. There'll be a couple with just 4. But if there's 5 of you, 3 of you are running the match, there should be a computer operator already. So that leaves 2 of you to get the next match ready. And they hopefully are there waiting. You go over, you check the names, you check the ages, you check the the weights, make sure it's not some giant mismatch. Sometimes kids get mismatched or they get lost on the way out and you got the wrong kid, okay? Make sure, and you can check all that, you can inspect while they're waiting. Mouthpieces can be any color but red, okay? So in theory, they could be, I think, pink and purple, but not red. But ideally, they should be clear, And the idea is blood. You can't see blood if they have red mouthpieces. I'm not too concerned about the uniform, as I said. If it's red and blue or black and white or whatever, it's okay. Not really for world class. The rules are it's supposed to match, supposed to be white. But again, we don't care that much in the color belt rings. And the dress code for the athletes is pretty much the same dress code for the referees. Referees really should not be wearing earrings, nose rings. We can wear glasses, of course. We should not be having jewelry all over our face because there is that slim chance that you get kicked or something catches you and your earring is pulled out of your ear. Okay? And we don't want anyone distracted. We don't want an athlete getting distracted by jewelry or something like that. So I just recommend don't wear any jewelry other than glasses. Okay. We're going to talk a lot about the penalties later. Let's talk about, well, I'm going to briefly go through the penalties right now. Okay. So crossing the boundary line. Come here, please. Let's go right over here. What's your name? Okay. So crossing the boundary line is 1 foot out of bounds. So if you don't mind, scoot back, please. So come inside. So if the red is in bounds and the black is out of bounds, that's completely out. Okay? As soon as that right foot touches the ground. Up in the air, that's not out. Straddling the line between red and black is not out. Now, if she lifts her toes up, that becomes out as soon as her toes are not touching the red. Okay? That's out of bounds is when the complete foot. So that's out, that's out. That's not out. That's out. That's already out. Okay? Not okay. Anyone have any questions on crossing the boundary line? Okay. Now, falling down, stay there for a minute. Falling down is any part of your body touching the ground except for your feet. Knees, hands, anything is falling down. So if Chloe is here in bounds and she falls, go ahead and sit down. Is that falling or out of bounds? It's falling. Why? Part of her body, not her foot touching the ground, is out of bounds. Okay. It's falling. This is falling. Out of bounds is your foot going out of bounds. Okay? And this, you may be thinking, what's the big deal? Out of bounds or crossing the boundary line. It makes a difference. It makes a difference in other situations when there's two fouls or two penalties at the same time. So try very hard to make that distinction. A lot of people will fall just like that. And this part hits the ground, it's falling. Okay? Thank you. You can take your seat. Okay? So when someone goes out of bounds and they get a penalty, Sharon. So Sharon is fighting her opponents over here, and act like you're fighting, and she backs up and goes out of bounds, and I call a penalty on her for going out of bounds. Where do I put her to restart the match? Anyone know? So, speak louder. I really need to hear. Okay, the idea is when you're out of bounds, you don't get to go to the middle. That's the idea. So her back foot, if this is one square, we want to put her back foot one square in. So you don't start them here. She's just going to go right out of bounds again. So we let her go like one square, the back foot one square. Okay? This is the only time when a penalty that I can think of results in a specific position for restarting. Is out of bounds, okay? Not falling. So in the example, if she fell and I call a penalty and she wants to walk back to the middle, it's okay. If she wants to stand on the edge, it's okay. But when it's out, thank you, sit down. When it's out of bounds and someone goes like this and they're ready to fight, don't start it. Bring them in. Okay? Any questions on that? That's one of the key distinctions between falling and going out of bounds. Okay, grabbing the opponent is literally grabbing, it's hooking and pulling. It could be hooking with your feet, it's grabbing, they're all considered grabbing. Pushing is, there's 3 times when pushing is a penalty. Come here, please. The 3 times when pushing is a penalty is if she's in the attacking motion, attack, and I push her. It's my penalty. Doesn't matter if she scored, doesn't matter if she has a low kick. Again, she's attacking, kick, and I push her. That's one way to get a penalty for pushing, okay? Now, if she had already lands it, kick up here and land it, now I can push her because she's not in the motion of attacking. It's already landed. Everyone understand that?
Sorry, just to go back. If someone fighting falls out of bounds, the penalty is falling.
Falling.
And not out of bounds. Therefore, they can start wherever they want.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. The second penalty for pushing is pushing out of bounds. Okay. So if William, and what's your name? Fiora. William and Fiora are sparring. Face her, please. And he just pushes her out of bounds. Push her out of bounds. And she goes out. It's a pushing penalty. But how do you know if Fiora is just faking it? And she was really afraid, and she was going to step out anyway. How do you tell? It's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? Okay. Now, maybe she's in bounds. Maybe the push wasn't that hard, and she stands her ground. Give her a slight push. She stands her ground, and then a second later, she goes out of bounds. And it's not pushing anymore. She went out of bounds voluntarily. Okay. This is a very common problem. Is we'll call out of bounds, we'll call pushing, and the judges don't like it when it's against their player. But you just got to make your best possible guess, okay? If someone goes out of bounds, and you can't tell if it's pushing or out of bounds, you have to make a call. You got 50-50 of getting it right. Just do your best. Okay, any questions on that, pushing out of bounds? Okay, the third one is continuous pushing. You can sit down, please. So this is continuous pushing. Face me this way. This is continuous pushing. Even if he's resisting, and I'm pushing, I'm really trying to push, this is a pushing penalty. Now, if I'm pushing and he kicks, it's also a penalty for pushing because I'm impeding his attack. Okay? This, come over here, please. Kind of leaning, and kind of leaning is not necessarily pushing. Right? If I'm just getting my balance and maybe I kick, or maybe I come and punch, it's not pushing. Now, if he's resisting, lean into me. If he's resisting and you can tell I'm pushing, then call a penalty, I'm pushing. Make sense? I'm pushing. Sit down, please. There's no requirement to kick after a push. That's a long gone requirement. Okay, any questions on pushing? Okay, avoiding the match is just what it sounds like. It's avoiding, it's getting away from. It's a hard one to call because it's hard to know, are they evading or are they just trying to set up the next punch or kick? But what you don't want is someone just running away. And it usually happens when they're leading. It's kind of obvious. You can look at the scoreboard. Why is blue backing up so much? Oh, he's got a big lead. Time's running out. Call it. It's the worst thing in the world when someone's chasing someone down and the other person's running around and nobody's calling a evading penalty. Okay? Kicking below the waist is kind of obvious, right? But there are times when it's okay. Like in an exchange, they call it. Like if we're both kicking at the same time, we kind of both kick each other under the waist. You don't call 2 penalties because we're both trying to engage, we're trying to attack. Okay, and especially little kids, they just kick their legs over and over. Now, if someone's getting an advantage, call a penalty. If I'm kicking him I'm kicking him in the leg, he's kicking me in the leg, and you can tell it's not hurting us, no penalty. But if I'm maybe kicking really hard and he's like this, you got to call the penalty. And if you call it enough times, they'll stop doing it. Okay, any questions on kicking below the belt? Yeah.
What about like touches? That's fine, as long as it's not hitting.
So what's your example?
Like when we do doubles, sometimes they use the first leg as a touch before.
It's not supposed to. It's not. It's supposed to be a penalty. If someone's aiming below the belt, that's a penalty. Okay. If they're aiming for the stomach and just can't quite get it up, and maybe it hits here, and the second one is really good, I wouldn't call this one. But if you can tell they had no intention to get above the belt, you got to call the penalty because it's unfair. And then you got to wave off the points if the point's scored. Okay, questions on that? Okay, let's go ahead and everyone stand up. Okay. If you're an experienced referee and you know the hand signals, I would like you to go to the back and help other people. Okay, but we're going to practice hand signals. So I know Sharon knows hand signals. Patrick knows hand signals. If you know hand signals, kind of rotate to the back and everyone else rotate forward. And again, let the people help you. Okay. So, but make some room. Make some room. Spread out a little bit. Patrick, come here, please. So there's a hand signal for almost every penalty. We're going to start off with crossing the boundary line, okay? So face them. So face them, please. Okay? So crossing the boundary line, do it with me, please. From here to here, well, I'm not showing you the Kallio part. I'm just showing you the hand signal for the penalty. Okay, it's here, and then just to your right, make a half circle. Here, half circle. It's none of this. It's not this, it's not this. It's here, your hand's already here, and just do a half circle. That's crossing the boundary line, okay? So, and it's all right hand. I'm not gonna use my left hand, but all of you should be using your right hand, okay? So let's try it, okay? Get in your lines, okay? Let's try crossing the boundary line, okay? Ready, go. Just do it on your own. Here, and turn it over. Palm down, palm up. Again, here, turn it over. Pretty easy, right? Here, turn it over. It's crossing the boundary line. Scoot over a little more so they can see you. Questions on that?
So, when you make everyone start fist by your ear. Everything should be that fist by your ear, not open hand. And then it should go forward. So every move you're going to start with your fist by your ear. And you you're not going to know what this means because of this. There's a reason for that thing, so we're not going to get to that. You know, ideally, our motion should start with this by here. Okay? It's like 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep the pace. Quick. You're a batonist or a conductor. You're not a conductor. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
How about sir?
Okay, so next up is falling down. Falling down is the only penalty, the only hand signal you give before we call the penalty, okay? And I'm kind of doing this a little out of order intentionally. You'll see why later, okay? So when someone falls, you come up and you say, stand up. Everyone do that. Palm up, stand up. Say it, everyone real loud. Stand up. It's a command, right? Stand up. And they have, in theory, they have 9 seconds to get up. Okay, and we're supposed to do it every 3 seconds, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So the first thing you do is you say, stand up. Okay, and then when they get up, you give the penalty. So the penalty, to give a penalty, let's do that. So finger pointed up, face me. You're pointing at their forehead like this. And you say the color, chung. Everyone with me? Little bend, right? Little bend. And then to your left shoulder, gamjang. Back to their forehead, right? Now, sometimes it's hard when they're little kids or when they're taller than you, but that's the idea. And you're in chariot, right? So everyone get in chariot, feet together. Chung, gamjang. Or hung, gamjang. Okay? That's the penalty itself. It's not the actual hand signal for the penalty. It's just the call of the penalty. Okay? So when someone falls, we say stand up. He gets up, get in position, chung, gamjang. And you've already given the hand signal, so you don't do it again. The hand signal being stand up. Make sense? Okay. So let's go back to, jump in anytime. Let's go back to actually now giving the gamjang, okay? So what's your name, sir? Nathaniel, come closer. So if I want to give Nathaniel a gamjang, he's already committed the penalty, right? So we need to say kalyo. Everyone? Kalyo. So it's from a closed fist to right to solar plexus, knife hand straight down, right? And then, so you're getting in between the fighters. If there's a fighter here, you're getting in between, and then you're getting in between again, and you're getting in chariot, okay? And everyone do it with me. Chung, gamjang, okay? And then you give whatever signal it is. So if it's out of bounds, chung, gamjang, my hand is here, I just flip it over. Chung, gamjang, there. So sometimes it's logical, your hand is already there, okay? If it was stand up, I wouldn't do it because I've already done it earlier.
Would you not say, do we not say like out of bounds and do we have those positions?
Very rarely do we tell them in English or Korean what it is. There's only, I think, one that I can think of.
It's only in delay of action.
Yeah.
On a penalty, you don't give, there is no verb. So when you're actually giving a gamjang, there is no verbiage.
Except for one.
No.
Gangyo.
That's only if they're not in activity, continue. But you're not giving a penalty. On a penalty, gamjang, signal, that's it.
Okay.
There is no verbiage.
Okay. So
Except for stand up, that's before the penalty.
that's right. Stand up is the only time we tell them essentially what the penalty is. So no, we don't say it. And get out of the habit of doing it with little kids. Chung, gamjang. Okay. Stay in bounds. Stand up. Don't do that. Right? Let their coaches and their instructors teach them what it means. Okay. We're not really there to be teachers. We're there to be safe. Cody, come on. Find a space. We're there to keep them safe and have a good match. Okay. Not to teach them. Okay. So everyone, once again, you can go back. So just to give to stop the match, step in the middle, kalyo. Just kind of act like it. Step in the middle, kalyo. You step in between the fighters. So the other fighter should be behind you. You don't want them accidentally getting some lucky shot or some cheap shot, right? And then let's do out of bounds again. So chung, gamjang, and then you just open your hand like that. Okay? And then when you're ready to start him again, this guy should still be here. He should not have repositioned. He should still be here. Just go back to where you were. Move your left leg back, and then queso. So when they're fighting, kalyo, I step in the middle, chung, gamjang. When I'm ready to resume, I don't care which leg you put back, and then you just get right back out of the way. That make sense? Okay. Grabbing. So the hand signal for grabbing is open hand to closed hand by your ribs. Don't bring it to your face. Okay? So let's try that. Just from your position, kalyo, hung, gamjang. So just from where you are, put your hand up, your palm up, grab, and pull it to your ribs. That's holding or grabbing. It's the same penalty. Everyone understand? Don't do this. Okay, that's grabbing. Pushing. Yeah, demonstrate. Okay, don't step forward. Do it again. Everyone do it with him, please. Makes sense, right? Pushing. Right? Any questions on pushing? Okay. Avoiding or delaying the match. This one we're going to take a little extra time to think about. There's multiple times when you give this penalty. There's situations. But the most common situation, Nathaniel and Fiora, come here, please. Face each other. They're sparring. Get in fighting stance. But neither, you can tell, neither one of them really want to be here. And they're just bouncing. Just bounce. They're not engaging. They're not going backwards or forwards. So with 3 seconds of inactivity, we say in Korean, gongyuk. If you know a better pronunciation, I'd be glad to hear it. And that's telling, kongyuk. Strike, okay. We used to just say fight, but they want us to do it in Korean. Gongyuk. Okay? Now, after 3 seconds, we say that. If either one of them makes an offensive move, that clock starts over. But a lot of times they just stand there. They don't do anything. They keep bouncing. We wait 3 more seconds. Kalyo. Because now they're both, in this case, they're both inactive. You give them both a penalty. Chung, gamjang. Hung, gamjang. And then when it's the same penalty for both players, you turn back to the middle and then you give the hand signal. If both of them do the same thing. But in this case, we don't say it again. We just do that. Go ahead, William.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because it varies with each tournament, but basically, let's say both are not fighting, right? And I heard that they try to not give both competitors a comes on. So would you say that the moment one is like evading a little more, let's say like they back up a little, you'd rather give it comes on so it doesn't back me up, right?
Well, I'll come to that.
Yes, sir.
If they're both just sitting there bouncing, nothing. No half step, no half step this way, that way, not even both going back that way. You got to give both penalties because they're both doing something wrong. And if he has 4, and this becomes his 5th penalty, he loses the round. That's why I think it is important to give both. The rule is there for a reason. This might be her first penalty. It's his 5th, and he loses the round. She fought a clean fight except for 1 penalty, and he didn't. Why wouldn't I give him the penalty? He should lose that round. That makes sense? Okay. But the distinction of how to tell who's being aggressive and who's not is essentially who's going forward. So smart fighters, as soon as they hear this, gongyuk, they just attack. And I used to do it too because a lot of people get distracted by what the referee is saying. So if he knows that she's going to get distracted, he's got a free shot at her. On top of the fact, he doesn't want to get a penalty. Okay? So as soon as you hear this, gongyuk, go forward and go back. Now, if he attacks or she attacks, it's fine. That's the idea of telling them to fight. But come back. But if I say it and he just takes 1 step forward, she takes 1 step back, go. And I would just wait, and I would probably call her for delay or avoiding. Okay, go ahead.
If they kept it in that distance, but then the one person keep trying to like kick it, but it's not really reaching the opponent, would that also be considered as not participating in the game?
For the one who keeps missing? No, I'm not saying you're missing. For the one who's missing or the one who's avoiding?
Or they're like you count to 1, 2, 3, and the one with them like kicks, but then it's like kind of far distance.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, because
that still counts as active.
That's right.
They should just bounce for 3 seconds.
Yeah, when they just bounce and they just bounce in a circle and they bounce in a circle and they just go like that one time, that's not really fighting, right? We want them to fight, so we tell them to fight. Okay? There's a lot of judgment call here.
How many times would a gongyuk need to be called until it becomes a penalty?
Well, we do it after 3 seconds of inactivity, and then the next 3 seconds of inactivity, then we do it. So it's the first one's a warning, essentially. Okay? Don't over give this penalty, but when a lot of times you get 2 fighters and they're both extremely passive, and you know it, you're like this. You're the center referee. No one's doing anything. gongyuk. They're not doing anything? Call you. Give them both a penalty. It's amazing how they'll start fighting after that.
If they like
if you give them warnings with King Yuck and then they attack and then they have another period of not really attacking, then does the warning reset?
Yes. After an attacking motion of some kind, the clock resets. They get a 3 second, they get a warning, they get another 3 seconds. So the ones that are smart will use that to rest. They'll use it for 3 seconds, maybe 4, and then they'll attack. But this is a hard one to call, unless they're both just standing there, then it's easy. Questions on that?
On top of that, anytime an athlete turns their back to avoid a kick, it's avoiding. Because the reality is, if I turn my back and I see what you can do to me, who's at more risk? Myself, I put myself there. So if we're fighting here tonight, I turn my back, you want to stop the match right there. Because technically, if you were to kick, you leave the kick, yes, but you can get back there, that's fine. So if you want to get the same effect of that. It's also 2 times, not multiple times. You'll go simple, short like that. Anytime an athlete will sit there and drop their head down low or squat, same thing, because
You can give the dog.
he's actually putting his head in a position where I can easily kick you in the head with a powerful strike. If I'm going to kick high, and all of a sudden he drops down, he falls, I'm doing a body shot, he drops his head into my range, that's his fault for dropping there. I should be penalized for a head kick. He should be penalized for avoiding or dropping his head into an unsafe position. It comes down to safety factors. Does that make sense to everybody? Like Master Graham was saying, a lot of people, I'm up 2 points, I got 5 seconds left, I'm going to keep sliding down. Stop the match quickly, give the penalty, have that fighter engage. He may only be up by 2 points, but now he's up by 1 point. And then you'll see at the end when they sit there and start, the last 10 seconds, you sit there and see athletes start pivot run, stop the match quickly, stop the clock, and realize that you're on top of things.
So I think it's the last 5 seconds of any round. If they just avoid right away, immediately call you out and give a penalty. It's very common what Master's saying, especially if they're up by like 4. They know they can get 4 penalties as long as they don't have 1 already and run out the clock. So if Nathaniel's winning, and put your hands up, and he's going to go back immediately. Okay, so I would immediately give it to him. Okay? Even if she's attacking. Well, if she's attacking, maybe not, because he's avoiding, he doesn't want to get kicked. But if she hasn't even done anything yet, I would give it to him immediately. Okay? This is big at the end of a round when someone is leading. Now, if they're leading by 8 or 9, it's probably not going to make much of a difference. But if they've got 3 or 4 penalties, this pushes them to 5, they lose the round. And the turning the back is automatic. So if I go to fight Patrick and he turns his back, that's immediate penalty and bend. It doesn't matter what the score is, because it leads to injury. Okay?
If one turns their back and the opponent scores a point before the penalty is called, does that point count?
Yes. Essentially, everything counts until Kalyo. Okay, not everything, but yeah, that's we don't want to penalize his opponent for getting a valid score. The opponent's going to get the score and he's going to get the penalty. Okay. Questions on evading? Okay. So lifting the leg. We're going to come back to that one. Kicking below the waist. Kicking below the waist. Everyone with me? Kalyo. Feet together. Don't do that with your left hand. Left hand is loose. No. Left hand is hanging. So again, from here, Kalyo. And then hung, gamjang. Just from here, just open your hand. Straight across and down. And no, like this. And you're touching your hip. Okay? It's not this. It's not, something behind your back. It's chung, gamjang, just right to here. Okay? Questions on below the waist? Do it again, Patrick. Use the commands, please. Okay. Attacking the opponent after Kalyo. This comes up a lot. I think it comes up a lot. Okay. So the idea is, Kalyo is not Kalyo until the arm is straight. The word is really not the key. It's the hand. So this is not until here. So as long as the attacker's foot is in the air, put your foot in the air. His foot is in, which is off the ground. Is slightly off the ground, he's totally fine. He's totally allowed to finish the kick because his foot was off the ground. He doesn't have to retract it. He doesn't have to, if he might want to be a good sport and retract it. That's fair, that's fine, but he doesn't have to. That could be the knockout kick that wins the match. It's totally legal because his foot is off the ground well before here. And this is where video replay comes in if you have it, because the question is, was his foot off the ground or not, especially when you're really close, okay? So obviously if his foot was way up here, and I call you, that's obviously legal, right? And if the person being kicked doesn't defend themselves, that's their problem. You always got to keep fighting. Even after call you got to keep your hands up, right? Okay, so if you're a center referee and you know you're coming in for call you, and maybe you see his foot going off the ground, you kind of have to watch. Because if he kicks and lands, even if he doesn't score, the opposing coach is going to ask for the penalty. Questions on that? Okay. Now, if the hand is down, call you, the clock stops, and it lands, there's no points. Can't get points for it because the clock has stopped. But he can't get a penalty because his foot was off the ground. Okay? So what I see a lot of referees do, if there's any action after call you, they call the penalty. I don't think that's fair. If that guy's foot is off the ground or girl, let him finish the kick. Any questions on that? Okay.
The hand signal. Okay, we'll get to that later.
Okay, no, we'll do that right now. The hand signal for kicking after call you. So everyone, call you, right? Chung, gamjang. And the call you is arm down. So you do it again. Here, you don't say it. Here, and then what I call the big X. Okay, let's do it again. Call you. Chung, gamjang. Okay, questions on that? Okay, kicking the fallen opponent is now different. The fallen opponent, so what's your name, sir? Louder? Casey. When is an opponent fallen? Anything but the soles of their feet, right? So if someone's in the position to get a penalty for falling, that means they are fallen. In the air is not fallen. In the air is not fallen. Parallel with the ground is not fallen until an elbow or something touches it. So in the air, someone's fair game. And I've seen that many times. People falling, they get kicked right in the face. It's not pretty, but it happens. Okay? So they're not fallen until they're on the ground. Once they're fallen, you cannot make contact with them. So the kicker may have had the foot all the way off the ground. Whatever the case is, the person falls, you got to pull back. Okay, there's no freebie, so to speak, on that. Kicking after call you is different. Kicking the fallen opponent is also different. Okay? Now, I've seen many times where maybe they're trying to avoid it and they kind of trip over them, stumble over them. You're not going to give a penalty for that. I don't, because it's not an attack. It's a stumble or a fall. Now, if they stumble or fall and drag their foot across their face, you're going to give them a penalty. Or they land with their knee in their chest or knee in their face, you're going to give them a penalty. Okay, questions on attacking the fallen opponent? And then we'll do the hand signal. So hand signal is, let's all do it together, please. So call yo, chung, gamjang, and then I think right leg only, just a slight kick, and then big X. Okay, but keep your hand up. So again, call yo, chung, gamjang. Keep your hand there. Keep your hand there. Slight kick, and then just right to the big X. Right? So when you're here, don't drop it and do that and that. You're already here. Kick, and right to here. Okay? That's attacking the fallen opponent. Okay, questions on that? Okay. Hitting the opponent's head with the hand or elbow. I see kids, especially, turn this way. It's unintentional, but they're like this, and don't overreact. They just touch. I call the penalty. You got to teach them to get their hands down. Turn sideways. This that slides up is a punch to the face, whether we like it or not. Okay? You know, some slight, very slight incidental, it really had no, it wasn't intentional, maybe wouldn't call it, but there's a lot of kids who can't control themselves and they don't understand. And they go like this and they just keep touching people's faces. Call it one after another.
Would you, let's say, it got scored, but it slid off, right? Would you wave off?
Okay, so I asked that very question at our last seminar. So, let me change gears just a little bit. Just put it over your shoulders. Okay, face them. So the solid red is a permitted area. I'm sorry, the whole chest gear is a permitted area. The solid red is a scoring area. Okay, so punches and kicks can land anywhere on the chest gear, anywhere, totally legal. But they only score on the solid part, including the back. Okay, now if the person's overweight and it doesn't reach in the back and you're landing in the middle of the open spot, no score because you're not touching the chest gear. Okay? So the idea is if I'm in the middle and the corner judges score it, it's almost impossible to reflect here. Most likely it went like that and bounced up there. So if you're a corner judge and you see this, well, first off, you shouldn't be scoring it, okay? If you do score it, and corner judges look at the scoreboard, you see 1 point go up, and then you see the center referee giving a penalty for punching, you should stand up and tell the center referee, we scored it, please take it off. Okay, because it's an inappropriate score. It should have never scored if the punch landed up here. That makes sense? Okay. The same thing goes for kicks. So in junior safety rules, so there's a division with no head kicks at all, with no head contact. Let's go over here, Patrick. If there's no head contact at all, the foot could land here, totally fine. No score. Kick could land here, could score. If it goes up to the face, you got to give the penalty for misconduct for making contact with the face. It doesn't matter if this scored or not. Yeah, in junior safety rules, if it's a no head contact division, or if it's no head contact, it's misconduct for making contact with the head. It's not punch, it's misconduct. If it's a light contact division and it's too hard, it's the same, misconduct. Okay, this is for punch to the head, and that's all. Okay, so what I see a lot of people do is they'll punch to death on the white parts. And it might cause damage to him, but no score, right? Don't score those if you're in the corner judge. If it lands here, an axe kick lands here, there's no score. Okay? If it lands here and travels down here, maybe, but this is not going to be hard enough anymore, right? For a kick to score, there's got to be some power behind it. Okay, questions on that? Okay. Leave that off. You can take it off. You just set it here. Okay. The last one is lifting the leg. Well, attacking with the knee. Attacking with the knee or blocking with the knee. So if I go to kick and he lifts his knee straight up to block, other leg. Okay, that's a penalty, blocking with the knee. It doesn't matter if my kick would have ended up hitting his shin. If he had stood there and I just landed it here, it would be my penalty. But he lifts his leg up and I kick his leg, it's his penalty. It's not a below the belt kick at that point. Questions on that? Okay. And attacking with the knee is the same thing. So we're fighting and he launches in with his right leg. It's a penalty. Attacking with the knee.
So I have a question about what if they're trying to do a kick but they just don't bring it fast enough and the opponent kicks them in the...
You know, that's a tough one, right? There are a lot of, I've seen people who will do this over and over as a blocking mechanism. If you've seen it once or twice, it's probably intentional. But if you see them, if it's one time out of 5 and that happens, maybe you don't call it, because it's hard to tell, was it intentional or not? But when it happens 2 or 3 times, it's usually intentional. Okay?
It comes down to action based. So if the other athlete is, let's say I want to come up, I'm going to start with him to come over. If I can't get over because he jams me, I didn't have time to just pivot and make a stride. If he sits there and I smoke like this, then you know it's not action based. Does that make sense? And a lot, like Grant was saying, a lot of times when athletes come in, if there's action where both people come in together, that low kick isn't a low kick. Because if you had low kick low, but it became a low kick when the other person jammed in on it. So incidental contact, or incidental low kicks, is because it's action based. Does that make sense? If he sits there and I kick him low, one thing, but if I go kick high and I jam him, so I slide in, then it becomes a low kick, but because I forced low kicks, I came in quickly. Similar to what you're talking. So you're coming up like this, we know it's that. But also you come up, I don't have time to bring it over, that's because you jammed him. Does that make sense to you, sir? Questions on any of that?
So a lot of it has to do with what I'm doing as well. So if we're sparring and I'm coming in and he was just throwing a regular kick, but ends up with knee in the stomach, knee in the stomach, it's not really going to be a penalty on him. Because I closed the distance, he wasn't able to finish the kick. Okay? And that's happened to me quite a few times, where I'm coming like this, and the person knees me in the stomach, and the referee says, well, if I had not moved in, he wouldn't have kneed me. So he doesn't get a penalty. It's kind of what you're asking, right? A little bit, right? So that's why you have to look at what the other person is doing as well. If I'm just standing here and he launches forward, knee in the stomach, it's a penalty. Okay? If I come in, or maybe I'm even making it worse by backing up or something, you have to take that into consideration. Okay? So the hand signal for attacking with the knee is this one. Okay, so all together. Kalyo, Chung, Gamjong. Just open your hand and just bring your knee and slowly. Do we touch? We just slight touch. Put your right hand, or put your leg back down, and that's it. Right? So again, Kalyo, Chung, Gamjong. Open and just nice and slow. You don't have to slap it. Don't make a sound. Just nice and slow. Don't fall over. Put your foot down. And now you're ready to go. Okay, not fast, not super slow, just down to your knee. That's for blocking with the knee and attacking with the knee. And headbutting. So headbutting is not allowed. I'm here, bam, not allowed. Same. They lump headbutting and attacking with the knee together. Doesn't make sense to me?
I'm right there. No misconduct. You're safe for misconduct.
Question? No. Okay. Rules when we count, junior safety rules, and interaction with the medics. Okay. We have a couple medics here. They'll come out in just a minute. Knockdown rules are not only for knockdowns. A hard kick where the person has to stop, we apply the knockdown rules. Can we switch sides?
Sure.
You don't mind? So any hard kick to the body where you can tell the person's stunned, you have to count. This is for any age, any belt, any division. You have to count. You apply the knockdown rules. And the count is to allow them to recover. The general rule is if you count, you have to go to 8. There are exceptions to that, but that's what we're going to follow. And we count in Korean, and if you don't know it, at least count in English. Don't just mumble, okay? But we should all know the Korean through 8, well, through 10, we should all know, okay? So, Martha, you want to come out? Francine? Okay, so over here. This is one of our medics. Her name is Martha. Everyone cheer up. Bao Kunye. Okay, I'm about to. Okay, so she's one. We're going to have like 6 throughout the day doing different things. And they're going to be kind of spread around the mats. And they're not supposed to enter the ring unless you call them. And the way you call them is you say, medic. Right? Everyone do it with me? Medic. Medic. And you're calling them to you, right? Medic. Medic. And if someone is calling the medic, it should be the center referee calling the medic. If you're a corner judge or you're at the table, turn around and call the medic. But let the center referee be the first one to do it. Medics are busy, it's loud, they may not hear it. You may need to scan the room. Okay, there's one of them. And they'll be wearing scrubs and so forth. They'll be identifiable. Sometimes you got to walk over. Excuse me, ma'am, we need some help here in ring 5. If the center referee is calling medic, you got to act quickly, okay? The rest of you that are sitting, don't just sit there. Find the medic, okay? And if you hear medic, you come onto the mat. You don't have to wait anymore. When the medic comes onto the mat, we say Keishi. Everyone do it with me? Keishi. Okay? And we're kind of doing this from our ear to here. And it gives them 1 minute, gives the medic 1 minute to assess the athlete. Okay? Where's Mark? So Mark is the athlete, and he got kicked hard, maybe below the waist. So he's down on the ground, and a lot of little kids are making noise, and we say, medic. So the medic will come out, and she'll try to assess. And there should be a countdown clock on the screen to know if there's 1 minute left, okay? Now, before the medic leaves, the center referee should come over, can he continue? They'll say yes or no, okay? And then the medic can step off. And if they're free to continue, if they're able to continue, you just continue, okay? Now, if they went down, if there was no, well, I said below the belt kick. So you would give a penalty to the kicker. But let's say it was not below the belt. It was just a nice body shot and he went down. You have to give him the penalty for falling, okay? So you have to keep in mind the penalties. If he's up, okay, and it's a strong body shot, and you can tell, you know, there's not a lot of them, but you can tell, strong body shot and he's doubled over. So he's not on the ground, but he's doubled over. You can call the medic right away. If you think they're hurt, you call the medic, medic, and then you have to count. So even though we're counting, the medic will still assess. And we're all going to count now, okay? We start with our right hand, thumb to our left shoulder, and we're going across. So here's Hana, and we're doing it in front of their face, in theory, in front of their face. Now, if they're facing down, it's kind of hard to get on the ground and look up. So at a minimum, you do this. Hana. Everyone do it with me? Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Dasa. So on 5, your hand is open, right? It stays there. She still may be assessing, she may not. It doesn't matter. We're still counting on a hard body shot. Nothing that was illegal. That's key here. It's not an illegal shot. It was a valid shot. Okay, let's do that again, starting with 1. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Dasa. Yasa. Ilgo. Yolder. Now I'm at 8, right? He shows no sign of recovery. If there's no sign of recovery, you keep going and you go to 10. Ilgo, Yolder, right? And now you're at 10. And 10 is a count out. It's a knockout. Everyone following me? You have to be making that assessment while you're counting. If you're at 6, 7, or 8 and they're still down, you're going to 10. You don't stop at 8 and go, are you okay? Do you want to continue? No. Now, if he's up at before 8, and you can tell, you got some eye contact, he says, I'm ready, okay? And especially if he's doing that, he's ready to go, you stop at 8, okay? Now, if there's no penalty to give, you just continue. You don't say, okay, take another break, no, okay? If he fell, I have to give him a falling penalty. Right? If he fell before Kalyo, if I do Kalyo and he's still up and then he takes a knee, that's different. That's okay while he's injured, okay? There's been times when I see people, I know they're hurt, I call the medic and they jump up within 10 seconds. So he goes down, a strong kick, he jumps up. Medic, let them come. If the medic sees you calling them, they have to come in and help. As I said before, we're not medics. We can't assess. If it was strong enough that we think they need a medic, let them. And so the medic still has to ask, maybe they have questions that we don't think of, and we're still counting. And let's all count again, please. And we're going to go up to 8 again. Ready? Hana, dual, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilgo, yolder. Okay, and he's up, right? And if he's pretty close to being up, that's good enough, right? And if I may think he's ready to go, he may think he's ready to go, and the medic's like, no, no, no. You know, you got blood or a twisted ankle, or she sees something that we don't see. We have to listen to the medic. So she may say, no, he's got a concussion. He's got whatever. Okay, and we listen to them, and then we finish counting to 10, and it's over. It actually happened to me once. The guy looked okay to me. Medic came over and said, no, he's done. And he walks off the mat going like this. And I was ready to let him keep fighting because I was just watching him, not, I didn't wait long enough. That makes sense? Okay. Obviously, we have to give them room. So if they need room, we got to go to the side, right? If they say right away and you're at 4 and they say he's done, you can stop counting. It's over. Okay, that's one of the times you can stop. If they're knocked out cold on their back, you can just say come on and stop. But generally, almost always, you have to count till at least 8. Francine, come on. Okay, so Francine is one of our other medics, also black belt in the school. Okay, so the key, Francine, is you got a minute. Okay, now let's say a minute goes by, and you know that fighter can keep fighting, but he's got maybe some blood. We don't want them fighting with blood dripping. So we'll say, can you continue?
No, can we stop that first?
Yeah, well, so the question is, yes, he can continue, but we got to stop the blood. So what we do is we give him another minute. And I think what we're supposed to do to tell the computer operator is, I think we do Keishi again. We're supposed to do this, Shigan, like they stop the Keishi and then we say Keishi again. So it gives them another minute. So now she may have her gear, she may be, I don't know, putting things in his nose or putting bandages, but it's still, that second minute is all they get. So what we're supposed to do in the first minute, okay, we're supposed to keep our eye on the clock. And when it gets to 45 seconds, we come over and say 45, 50. And hopefully the medic is listening and going, oh, I'm almost at a minute, I have to make my decision. 55. If you get to 60 and the medic hasn't said anything, I think we're just supposed to stop it. But at a minimum, when we get to 60, can they continue? Okay. If she says yes, then we continue. If she says yes, but I need to stop the bleeding, we do this, Shigan, and we say Keishi, and he gets 1 more minute. So she's tending to him, and do we give the 45-second count again? So we're still looking at the clock for the second minute, and sometimes it's obvious. There's just blood coming everywhere, and you say 45, you say 50. If the medic thinks there's no way I'm going to stop this in 10 seconds, they should just tell us, no, can't stop it. It's too much. But if they're like wrapping it up, yeah, if it goes a little over 60 on a color belt match, it's okay. We can keep going.
What if the coaches were interviewing the medic during the treatment? So what?
Okay, coaches and parents are not allowed on the mat. So frequently, especially with the littler kids, the coach will run over. Oh, are you okay? You say, coach, go sit down. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's their dad or their mom, their master, your master. You say, coach, go sit down. And the medic's here. Okay, the medic takes care of them. If the coach says he's done, that's a throwing in the towel, that's a withdrawal. It doesn't matter anymore about the injury. So if you ever hear the coach say he's done, in the first second, that's it, it's over.
I'm talking to some counting and the opinion of the nurse. You said that you gave up to a minute for the nurse to decide, right? Then when does that and the counting
come together? Okay. So go ahead.
Actually, you start your count, right? Call your medic. Medic comes up. Medic does not start assisting the athlete until you finish your 8 count, they're ready to continue, or the count out to 10. At that point, you call for your patient. That's when the minute starts. For 60 seconds. Okay? It's your count. Not dual. Medic, they come in. You get out your 8, they're ready to go. Call for your Keishi, assist the athlete. Because then you're trying to monitor 2 clocks. Once you go Keishi, the operator, you'll flip it, and you'll see that it'll go from timeout to a medical time. It'll start counting down from 60 down. Answer your question?
So this is very confusing. And it depends on if it was legal or illegal contact. The medic serves 2 purposes. To take care of the athlete, right? We don't want people going home with injuries. That's the first thing they're there for. The second thing they're there for is to tell us if the fighter can continue. But it may not matter what the medic thinks. So it doesn't matter if the coach throws in the towel. It doesn't matter if the athlete says, I'm done. It doesn't matter what the medic says, okay? But on the counting, if you count to 10, it's over. It doesn't matter. There's some special rules for that. But generally, it's over. The medic could stand up and say, well, he's fine. It doesn't matter. You count it to 10, okay? There's some special rules for head kicks. We might get to those later, okay? But if it's illegal kick, first off, you're never counting on an illegal kick. This person doesn't need to be counted. The other person needs to get a penalty, and they need to be looked after. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. If you count to 8 and they're up, then what the medic is doing is, if you stop at 8, you've already decided they can continue. Hopefully, the medic has told you they can continue. They get the final 10 seconds, or they get the final minute, and then they get one more minute. Again, just for the bleeding, or I think even like a little bit of dizziness. If they thought they could continue, I think the extra minute is for those reasons.
Actually, yes, Ms. Sharon?
What about the time for the medic to come over?
That's why you don't go to your, so you do your count, the athlete's ready to go. You don't call the case until the medic steps on the mat. They may be tied up on other rings.
But like the 8 count?
So you do the 8 count, the athlete's ready to go, right? You're still in timeout. You haven't called the case yet. Yeah, the medic will let you off. When the medic steps on the mat is when you start your timeout. You get your 60 seconds. The first 60 seconds is to ascertain the health and the safety of the athlete. If they need another 60 seconds to clean up the athlete or to clean up their gear, that's what those 60 seconds are. As most professional athletes, most medics will be able to know within 60 seconds. Do we have a major issue or a minor issue? A nose, a bloody lip, a nosebleed, something like that. You have a concussion. They can ascertain in 20 seconds if they have a concussion, which is a minute's more than enough time. That extra 60 seconds they need to clean the athlete up and get their stuff up off the floor. It's more of a, so they're not rushing too quickly. So they have to try to get 60 seconds.
Yeah, occasionally there's some little drops of blood on the floor. We don't want, obviously, fighting during that. And we don't want to disqualify someone just for something small like that. And we're not supposed to say Keishi until they step on the mat. So don't, if you call the medic, you don't do this until they come on the mat because they may be delayed. But what's supposed to happen, this is where it gets complicated, is you're counting. Maybe you get to 5, and the medic comes on, you're supposed to say Keishi and then keep counting in Korean, correct?
Count out.
What's that?
Finish your count. Count stops before you start your count. So you finish your count out to 8 or 10, whichever it'll be. At the end of that, the athlete is ready to compete. Then you go to your Keishi, you give your minute. So if your count on the athlete and the medic's working on the athlete, there's an interference with that.
So what I'm hearing is, if you've already started counting,
You count out.
you can't say Keishi until you get to 8 or 10, right? So the medic can help them, but the Keishi doesn't start. The minute doesn't start, okay? And remember, you may count to 10, and I'm simplifying and saying you count to 10 and they're out. There are exceptions to that. So we still follow the rules. We count, you may count to 10 because they're bent over, and then you would say Keishi, and now your minute starts. You still have to go through this process because what I may thought was a legal kick that I counted on may not have been legal. So we still need the safety aspect of the medic. We still need the medic to be able to tell us if they can continue. And then what we're supposed to do essentially is look at IVR, video replay. Sometimes we ask the corner judges, but generally we would look at IVR, and you can stand up, Mark, especially for a head kick. A shin or a knee to the head is not legal. And I didn't know, it sure looked like a foot to me. He's down and he's going like this, and I'm counting, and I count to 10. And the medic does her job, and the medic says, yes, he can continue. And then we find out it was a shin hitting him in the head. It's no longer legal, is it? He can't be disqualified for an illegal move by the attacker. So in that case, I believe what we would do is we'd look at the attacker, we'd give him a gamjang for illegal attack, right? And if he can continue, then the 10 count is waved off and he basically continues. Okay? Now, if he can't continue,
Legal or illegal?
Illegal contact,
He wins.
right, if he can't continue. That's why it's important. And this is where it kind of gets tough for the medics, because a lot of athletes know these rules, and they'll be thinking, oh no, I can't continue, hoping to get the other guy disqualified. We want the medic to say, no, he can't continue because of a concussion, a break, a sprain, a cut, or something like that. Okay? Does that answer the question?
The only question I'm going to ask the medic is, can they continue? All I want is yes or no. I don't care what he says, she says, coach says, can they continue? Yes or no? And that's going to determine everything. Because the athlete may not want to continue. Pain is not a decision as far as can they continue. We're a contact sport. We've all been kicked multiple times. Is it fun? No. Do we like it? No. But it's part of the game.
Go ahead, Sharon.
So you make the call between counting to 8 or to 10 based on if it's illegal or illegal.
No, no.
Or if the medic says they can't.
No, the 8 or 10 is the center referee's job. First off, I have to have made my own assessment whether it was illegal. If I know I'm giving a penalty, I'm not going to count. There's no reason to count. But I don't know. Maybe it was a low kick, and that's why he's bent over. Maybe it hit the hogu. Maybe it was a legal kick with the instep. Maybe it was not. So I have to count, because if it was legal, we have to see if he's going to get counted out. If I can't tell, then I'm going to count. And if when I get to 8, I have to make my own assessment. She could say, oh, he's fine. I should listen, but if he's not even up and he's going like that, or he's holding his knee and she thinks he's fine, I'm going to keep going to 10 because he's not up in fighting position. That's kind of the key. He may be physically fine, but mentally he's scared to death and he doesn't want to stand up. Okay? So a lot of it is up like this. And especially if they're up like this, say, I'm ready. The one example I gave, I asked the guy, are you ready? And he was like this. And I assessed him to be ready to go. And the medic said, no, he can't go. And he also didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Would that count as like that, like throwing in the towel?
No, it's a knockout. I mean, if you think about boxing, they get punched, they go on the ground, and they can't get up within 10 seconds. I don't care if you're standing. If you're not ready to fight within 10 seconds, you're out. Okay, in the world-class ring, there are other rules, and your ring captain will tell you if you're in those rings. But let's now talk about junior safety rules, okay? So junior safety rules only exist, I believe, in the US and Canada. The rest of the world doesn't have it. So we have these interim steps. So world-class is full contact in the head. Every division is full contact in the body, okay? But in junior safety rules, there's a chart, and you can look it up if you want. Based on your age and your belt, the younger and lower belts, there's no head contact allowed at all, okay? So we call that a no head contact fight. And then once you hit a certain age to a certain age, it's a light contact to the head. So if you're the center referee, you have to know every match. So the younger they are, you have to know if it's no contact or light contact. And you have to tell them, coach, no contact, coach, no contact, or light contact, light contact. And you remind them. A lot of kids don't even know. In their school, they do full contact all the time. I'll say, don't forget, it's light contact today. And hopefully you get some kind of acknowledgement, right? So in a light contact division, if they make contact with the head, it's a penalty for misconduct. It doesn't matter, intentional, non-intentional, except there are a few exceptions. Like if I'm kicking maybe here and he stumbles and it hits the head, it's kind of his fault. You're not going to give a penalty for the kicker because they were not going for the head. The other person stumbled into it, okay? If there's any contact to the head, in theory, you're supposed to call the medic every time. But if it was so light and so insignificant and they're up, don't call the medic. But if it's anything more than that, you call the medic. The medic will do the same thing. And typically you want to tell the medic, kind of hard kick here, or hard kick here, or here. They'll do their assessment, and as they're doing their assessment, you turn around and you give a misconduct to the kicker. Okay? It's not necessarily just 1 minute. They get extra time because it's an illegal kick. Go ahead.
And all that, when will you start counting?
In light contact or no head contact, never count for head contact on light or no head contact. Okay? And the younger they are, and the ones that are not used to it, and they get kicked in the head, it becomes tough. Medics are in a tough position because the kid may be like, I don't want to do this. You know, they never wanted to be there anyway. Their coach or their parents made them go. I don't want to do this. And the medic should be determining, do they have a concussion or not? And that's about it. Are they medically, are they injured enough to not fight? Not because of fright or even pain, unless it was just too hard. And if it's a light contact division, Mark, you can go back. Sir, please. So a light contact to the head is just this. This is light. Okay? Anything harder than this is not light. So if the head turns, it's not light. Pretty much an axe kick is very hard to be light. Okay? A back spinning kick is almost impossible to be light. The ones that have control, they do a lot of crescent kicks, where they just do this, tap. Good, fine, not too hard. It's not hurting, right? Even with headgear, it's not hurting. A little tap to the face. Toes get in the eyes, that's different, right? Now you're definitely going to call the medic. This is for light contact. But if you see a kick and you go like that, it's too hard. It becomes obvious when you're the center referee, okay? But if you see a kick, it's okay. Let it go, okay? No need to call the medic. As soon as it becomes too hard, call the medic and let them assess, and you give the other player a penalty.
Also relevant to color belt, like
Color belt what?
like junior, senior.
Well, it's either a no contact division, a light contact division, or a full contact division, okay? Every match, you should know. As a corner judge, you should know, because you need to know if you're pressing head kick or not, okay? And if you don't know, you ask. If they're really young, it's usually no head contact. It's kind of obvious. But there's been many times the next group comes in and they just reached the light contact, and I start giving a penalty, and the coach says no, they're allowed, and I didn't even know. I got to go look, what age are they, and so forth. So what a center referee definitely has to know. Okay. Do you have questions?
No.
Francine? Okay. A lot of groin kicks, obviously. A lot of times it's kind of hard to see, especially the faster they are. And if they're grabbing their groin and going down, it was probably a groin kick. Call, kicking below the belt. Okay.
Sorry, I know we kind of moved on from the illegal versus legal like counting part, but when does IVR, like how does it come into play?
Okay, can we talk about that later? I want to finish up with the medics. Okay, we talk about no contact, light contact, and full contact. Okay, I said earlier, if you think it was hard, just call the medic. Okay, you don't want to go home and some kids are injured because of our lack of wanting to call them. Okay. Especially on the no contact and the light contact on the head. Because they shouldn't be getting kicked hard. If they're getting kicked hard, we need to call a penalty, we need to bring the medic out. Okay. Any other questions about knockdown rules, counting, and so forth? Go back. Anybody? Anything else you want to ask or no?
No.
You
I
good?
think it will just, yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right, everyone, let's face our medics. Chariot, Balcunier. Can someone check if they want to bring their table out? Okay, let's all kind of go over here a little bit. They're going to bring a table out, and we'll talk about IVR for a few minutes. Okay, So 2 rings are going to have IVR, should be the whole day, the 2 world-class rings. I'm going to try to rotate. Not all of you will get in there, but I'll try to rotate a little bit. When you have IVR, every challenge, every question, every decision is done by IVR. Whether it's head kick, turning kick, whether it's the coach is challenging a penalty, it's IVR. You don't call a meeting. That's what IVR is for, okay? So ask your question again, please.
So we can't tell if it's illegal or illegal, so we start counting, and at what point do you check IVR?
Okay. There's a flow chart. I can see it in my head, and I have it on my phone. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I can bring that out later and answer. But here's the kind of the main idea. When it's a head kick in full contact with IVR, there's very specific rules on what you have to do. And one of the rules is, if there's a head kick and the score does not go up, okay? So he gets kicked so hard in the head that I have to count. Why didn't the score go up? Kind of strange, right? Maybe it got him right in the face, right? There's no sensor here. Or maybe, the sensor's in the foot. Maybe it wasn't the foot. Again, shin or something else hit him in the head. So when there's a head kick with counting, either to 8 or 10, it's mandatory to check the IVR to ensure whether it was a legal kick or an illegal kick, okay? From there, you're going to take more action. And like I say, I'll bring that out later, okay? But if it's other than head kicks, okay? If you're the center referee, again, things happen fast, especially, if it's a little bit smaller, did it hit below the belt or not? Maybe, remember, any part of the foot touching the hogu is legal. It doesn't matter where the rest of the foot goes. The rest of the foot could be firmly in the groin. It's totally legal. So it happens a lot in back kicks, right? I get the heel right here in the chest gear, and the rest of it's hitting somewhere else. Totally fine. That's not kick below the belt. Roundhouse kick right here. Can you grab that chest gear that's right there on the floor? Come with me, please. Just put it over your shoulders. And let's turn it a little bit that way. Okay. Any part of the foot touches the hogu, doesn't matter where the rest of the foot goes. It's not a penalty. Okay. If you have electronic, so only, for this tournament, only world class will be using electronic. If the dado or the electronic scores it, it cannot be below the belt, can it? That means something on the foot touched. So that's one of the questions, whether you look at IVR or not. It could be perfect kick, but just here, but again, hits the groin. He's doubled over, and I'm counting because I really can't tell. And I'm probably not going to take, it doesn't really matter if it's scored or not, because out of safety, I should count. I can't just tell him keep fighting. He can barely do anything, right? So now, even for a body kick, I'm going to look up there and think, why didn't it score? And then we have the center referee can ask IVR if they were pretending injury. The center referee asks, was red pretending injury? Because he may have been losing really bad, and this is his chance to get the other fighter disqualified, right? So IVR will look at it. They'll make the decision, was it legal or illegal? Kick. If the kick was legal, he's probably not pretending injury because it kind of hit him low at the same time. So he's not pretending injury. But if it was, totally on here, how do I say it? Totally. There's an example. I just can't think of it right now. The point is, pretending injury is a penalty if someone's doing it. And if you're the center referee and you think they're pretending injury, such as it sure looks like a legal kick to you, but they're always going like this, you can check it. No, it's hitting the chest gear. They're pretending injury. You give them a penalty. But that's one way to know, using IVR, it's one way to know, did it hit the chest gear or not? Okay, does kind of answer your question a little bit?
There are hand signals for penalizing.
It's probably misconduct. Anything that's kind of violating the spirit of what we're doing is misconduct. Yeah, go ahead. Can you come closer, please?
If it was like a legal kick, like if it was like, oh yeah, headshots allowed, and then but it was like really hard and the other guy's down, how would like the counter work?
So give me your example. Why is the other guy down?
Like it was a legal kick, but it was really hard.
So Chloe gets kicked really hard in the head. She goes down.
Yeah.
What's the?
Would she get a counter for falling?
So remember, the action stops when Kalyo is here. So if she's kicked so hard and she's already down before this, then she's got to get a falling penalty because she fell before Kalyo. But if I'm really fast, Kalyo, and then she goes down, there's no penalty. That's same for any part of the match. Two people are fighting. I'm going to give her a penalty for something. Kalyo, and then she falls or she falls. There's no penalty. Okay? Did that answer the question? Okay.
Let's say it's very clearly a fall that would be penalized, and it's also a knockout. Would you start counting first, or would you penalize?
Always count. This has to do with safety, right? The falling and the penalty is already known. It's already known you're going to give it.
So in terms of when to look at IVR, once you're done counting, or
For the head kick or for what? Just,
let's say it was a body.
you know what? Let me answer that. You always have to count to at least 10. If he's up, you can stop counting and then you can look at your IVR, or at 10. So you have to wait till you're done counting.
And then is there a hand signal?
For IVR, for requesting IVR, so if Cody's the one on the ground, and I don't know if her kick was legal or not, I think I'm asking on behalf of him, right? So I would. He is. So that's why we have our cards, center referee. So I would pull a red card, and I would ask, was the head kick legal or not?
Say it out loud.
No. You walk over to the review jury.
So you go, yeah,
Yeah, whenever there's a challenge, you're in the middle. Chung challenge, or Hung challenge, or Hung video replay. It's very frequent where. So the other situation that's really common is the turning kick that the corner judges want to score. So what's your name, sir? James, come over here. And Cody's the other corner judge. Remember, as a corner judge, you can get up, you can go like this. If you need to see, you don't have to sit. If your legs are tired, you can stand up. You don't have to sit. Okay? Now, let's say blue gets a turning kick, and the corner judges score it. So okay? Turning kick, and it's an obvious turning kick. The corner judges are already jumping up, and James says, referee. And Cody says, referee. Okay? So when one corner judge says it or stands, you both have to stand up and say it. The center referee may be looking this way and can't see this person, or vice versa. The center referee just looks to the first one. So I may be facing Cody, and he may not know why he stood up. So what would you do? You kind of put your hand out like that, but you'd point to him. And because he doesn't know why he stood. Maybe he didn't see a turning kick. Maybe he thought the person put their foot down. So I look over at him, and James is going to do what? You just saw red do a turn. You just saw blue, I guess. Blue did a turning kick. What are you going to do?
Turn kick?
Well, Chung, 2 points. Chung, Ijam. Practice.
Oh, I'm the ref?
You're a corner judge.
Oh.
Just right here. Give 2 points to blue. Go.
Chung, 2 points.
Okay?
Chung, 2 points.
Now, this doesn't make sense. Because when I looked at him, he didn't know why he was standing. If he knew it was a turning kick, he should have said it. In this case, the implication was he didn't see the turning kick. So what's Cody going to do? He doesn't see it. You don't see it, you don't score it. Doesn't matter half the gym saw it. He may have been looking down, he may have been looking over here. It doesn't matter. And don't peer pressure, right? If he doesn't see it, bam, easy. Okay? With technical, center referee does not have a vote. So as soon as one says no, it's over. There's no turning. Even though it's the obvious thing, I'm the center referee, it was so obvious, I don't care. I'm not, center referee does not give points. Does that make sense? This common scenario. Cody may stand up going, I don't know why he stood. Oh, turning kick. Oh, yeah, maybe it was a turning kick. If he doesn't know right away, he probably should just do this. Because it wasn't obvious. And he may think, oh, gosh, he's my master. He's my instructor. He said it was 2 points. He's smarter than me. I better give it to him. No, don't do that. Okay, questions about that? Okay. But if he saw it, he would have said it first. But maybe he saw the other color. Maybe he thinks it's red, and maybe blue was also during the turning kick. He would then say, if James said red, and Cody thinks it's blue, what is Cody going to do? Chung, right? But you point at Chung, right? And I need to hear what color he's talking about. I don't know, so he's going to do it again, please?
Chung, 2 points.
Right? So now we got a little problem here. Maybe they were both during turning kicks. But now it's kind of a tough situation. I think in this case, maybe he saw both of them and he only saw one of them. I think in this case, I'd probably call a meeting. And he may say, no, I saw blue and I saw red. Okay, there's no turning kicks, right? But he may come over and say, oh, yeah, I saw red as well. I didn't know what to say. Right? We don't want to cheat people out of points. Does it kind of make sense? Okay. The other example is head kicks. Okay. So for the non-world class rings, we're using controllers. So it's an obvious head kick. It was light contact. And one of them presses, but not the other. And the coach stands up and holds up her card, right? James saw the head kick. Maybe Cody did too. So James stands up, and for blue, what are you going to do? So it's this, right?
So it's going to be Chung.
Yeah.
You're awarding points, right? You're awarding points?
He wants to give 2 points for.
You're going to point to the athlete. And you have verbal points. Chung.
So this is not turning. This is a normal head kick. Okay, so he's going to say Chung, 3 points, or Chung Samjung.
Chung, 3 points.
Okay, leave it up there for a second, right? Kind of let everyone see what you're doing. I'm going to look back at Cody.
Chung, 3 points.
Okay, and then you award the 3 points to blue. So the way you award the points, stand up. Okay, the athletes may not be right here, but you don't have to put them in the middle. You don't have to do this Chung Hung every time just because corner judges stand up. Awarding, and she may be standing there because she's not really sure. Are we really? And she's on reds, and she's expecting red, and she might be thinking, why are they giving it to blue? But they both stood up and said blue, right? Kind of doesn't make sense. Does blue have a head kick? So probably at this point, I shouldn't be giving anything. I'm sorry, this is not turning. This is the head kick. She still thinks it's red. The corner judges think it's blue, right? So the way we do it is we're in chariot. We face the judges and we point. Blue may be over there at this moment. Chung, do it with me. Chung. So you point, you're kind of like a penalty almost. Chung. Samjung. Okay, you hold the fingers up and you got to watch. You got to watch for this head to appear. So that was a little problem, right? There was already a body shot there. The body shot disappeared and the head shot appeared. They're still learning how to do this. We would not continue, right? We'd fix this. So I'd come over and I'd say, excuse me, what happened to the body shot?
Body shot was awarded. Now we had previous was 2 points.
This is a totally different kick. So in theory, she's going to take off the head kick. But see, there's something wrong because it doesn't show it. It's not a perfect system, so it may not show it anymore. But this was what it was supposed to be too, right? And now she's going to add the head kick. Well, why isn't it showing up, sir? Don't know. Sometimes it doesn't show up. Okay, maybe on manual scoring it doesn't show up, but she's still got her card up. So we come over here, and this is how we address the coaches. Or we yes. For the head kick, okay? So we take their card, right? We do a slight bow. It doesn't matter who they are, we do a slight bow. We take the card, come with me, and we say, hung, challenge.
Hung, challenge.
Okay? In this case, it's not IVR, so we're looking at corner judges, okay? So, not yet. So here, when he does this challenge, he touches his left forehead. Go ahead with your left hand. And now he's going to look over. And is he doing thumbs up? If he agrees, thumbs up, or X if he doesn't agree. So he agrees. He turns his shoulder, okay? One says no. We can break the tie on this one, right? On head kicks. On head kicks, center referee breaks the tie, okay? So by now, he should already know if there was a head kick or not. And so it's 1 yes, 1 no. You make the decision. What's the decision? So you want to give it to him? Okay. So you would come back with a thumbs up, I believe, to, does he have to, or just gives the points?
Gives a thumbs up, turns the card, gives the points.
Right, gives a thumbs up. He walks back over, gives the card back, comes back to the middle. Okay. He points at red. Hung. Do it with me, please. Hung. Samjang.
Samjang.
Okay, so it's a little unclear how this is working, but make sure 3 points go up for red. That's key, right? Not blue, etc. People make mistakes, they get the wrong side, they do things wrong. Make sure. Okay, questions about that? Okay, you can sit down. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So you go like this, put the card in your pocket. Okay, so keep fighting. You've already got the card. You keep it. Don't give it back. Okay. Okay. Would you like to say a few things while I look at my notes here?
You go turning kicks. Allowed or not allowed? Turning kicks allowed. The light head contact. Or turning kicks allowed on the bottom. Yes, full contact. Okay? Turning kicks add an extra 2 points. Okay? Real simple. Light head contact. You do a turning kick and light head contact. Well, you can, but more likely you're not going to get the score. You can't really control that. Who can control spin hill? Spin hill kick to the head. You can't. So more likely you're not going to. Full contact. Turning kicks. You give that 2 points. If a person takes the initiative to do a turning kick, they score and fall down. Do they get a point for? Do they get a gamja for falling down? No. Only if the turning kicks go up in points. Okay. If they do it, if they attempt a spinning kick, they don't score and they fall down. Anytime someone lands in that match, there's going to be a penalty. Okay. The only difference is that is if they're doing a turning kick, because they made an attempt at a harder technique, more difficult technique, at turning their body around backwards. If they score, they don't get penalized for falling down. They would not get the gamja for falling down. If the 2 points go up on top. That makes sense? Sir. That's where the 2 points can be really crucial here. So if someone were to fall down, I give the penalty for falling down. The corners then would award the 2 points. Of the 2 points, then I have to remove that gamja, which is how we do it. It's okay with that. So if you give the gamja automatically, because you should, the points then come up, not a problem. Award the 2 points, remove the gamja. Yes, sir.
Emotion or the act of
Gamja, you're gonna sit there and chung, gamja. So you're gonna start the center, you go right, left, right. You're not waving, you're not watching those here, 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 here. And that's a removal of anything.
Yeah, but don't recreate the hand signal. So basically, you're looking at the judge's table. You're taking off a gamjan, right? You're going to point. In this situation where you're doing something, you've already done chung hung. You've put them back here. So blue is always going to be in your right. Red is always going to be on your left. So if I'm taking off a penalty for red, I don't face him. I still face the judges. Hung, gamjan, left. I think it's left, right, left, but whatever. It's a chalkboard. I know a lot of you have never seen chalkboards before. You're erasing a whiteboard. Okay. If it's blue, chung, gamjang. And then you got to watch. So can we add two gamjangs each? Okay. So if we're taking off gamjangs, don't look at scores. Look here. Because some people, they don't know, and they'll just subtract a point or add a point or something. So if you're on blue and you're taking off a gamjang, so that's what we're going to do now, chung, gamjang. Now you got to look. It goes down to 1, right? Makes sense? Okay. And go ahead. Question? Okay. The example earlier, turning kick to the head, the score doesn't go up, the person falls. I give the penalty for falling because they fell. Maybe, and then the coach challenges, it becomes valid, they get the turning point, and now I have to take off the gamjang, okay? And if the corner judges, so this happened 2 weeks ago, I forgot to take off the penalty. If you're a corner judge and you realize there's a mistake, stand up, referee, take off the penalty. You know, we don't want to announce it to the gym that we're making mistakes, but referee, invalidate the penalty. Okay? Because otherwise the coach has to do it, and we don't want the coaches doing our jobs. It looks bad. Okay? Okay. Giving gamjangs, we need to make sure the right one goes up. So if red gets a gamjang, go ahead. We got to look at it, right? Don't just immediately start going. Look at it, make sure it goes up for red. When there's 4 gamjangs, you look at the player, William, right? I don't really care if he's just got up, if it was just a hard kick, but I'm giving him number 4, chung, gamjang. I look over, I see number 4, and I'm going to go like this. I'm not telling the coach, I'm not telling everyone else, I'm telling him. I don't really care if he knows what it means. If he says, what's that? You keep fighting. The judges are not here to give a course in the middle of a match, okay? I think initially they used to tell us to tell the coach, but not anymore. Tell the athlete. And not this, it's kind of hard, especially if you've just been fighting. And not that, because no one can see what it is, right? Make it obvious. Give them an extra second. Okay, thank you. Okay. When someone gets to 5, they lose the round. So we're going to add a penalty for 5. Pun is punitive. Okay. If you know you just gave someone the 4th one, and you know you're about to give them the 5th one, you should be obviously aware this is going to happen. As soon as that happens, if there's nothing else, there's no penalties on the other player, there's no injuries, there's no medic, you say, come on, and that round ends. If it's the 3rd round, the other player wins, right? It doesn't tell you which player is getting the punitive. I think it would be nice to put an R or B down here, or to color it. So you do have to look to see which one.
So you know how it's when there's 4 jump, and then a player like already had 4 jumps fell down, right? Then you just do. Will you say combine instead of hayo? Because you're gonna
What's that?
matches over.
But don't you have to give the penalty first to find out?
You're gonna
call you first.
The match, then we can come on.
Yeah, so it's almost always call you first. Give the 5th penalty and then come back and say, come on, and declare the winner. Okay. Any questions? Punch, body, head. So punch, body, head. I wish they switched it and made the kick larger, because it's almost all kicks we score, right? If it's no head contact, you better not be pushing head. The other scenario that comes up a lot is a punch that is wrong color. So if I push blue punch, and the other corner judge presses red. And it's an obvious punch, right? There was an obvious punch by blue. And you're the center referee, and you look up, and you don't see a score. What you might see, if you look up fast enough, one more time, is you might see this. It's kind of obvious it was a mistake, isn't it? Right? Or I push blue, and he waits a little too long to press blue. It's kind of obvious that we both intended for blue to score. Okay? In that case, we say call yo if you're center referee. No? Or the corner judge has to do it. Corner judge would do that, just like asking for technical. Corner judge would stand up. It's so obvious, right? You know you pushed it. You know, it's not like it was a questionable one. Well, I'm intentionally facing the screen. Can you still see the screen? Okay, so the same thing with a punch. If the corner judge wants to award the punch, don't do it if it's like you're not sure. But when it's so obvious and you pressed it and you think the other person pressed it, stand up. Referee? Referee stops it. Chung, Iljong. Other corner judge should either be doing it or disagreeing. And because it's awarding points, the center referee would not break the tie in that case. Okay? They say that, can they maybe? Yeah, they can see it. Okay, I think, yeah, go ahead.
If it's a turning body, would the center referee be able to break a tie or no?
So, corner judges have one responsibility to award points. Center referees have one job. It's to entitle and impose the rules. So center referees do not give points; they only give penalties. And corner judges give points. That's their role. Make sense? So head contact, center referees can break it, but you get punches, no. Kicks, no. That's all corners.
And technical, no. So I think it's a kind of a, it's not symmetrical, right? Why does the center referee get to award a head kick or break a tie on a head kick? What I've been told is there's a lot of head kicks that either the electronic system does not score or the corner judges do not score, and they don't want people going home going, my kid landed 3 head kicks and lost by 3 points. So when the technology is at 100%, I don't think we'll be breaking ties anymore. But at this point, head kicks are so important, either 3 or 5 points. They want it to be right, and that's my understanding of why a center referee can break the tie in a head kick. Okay. Okay. Any other questions about KPMP?
So, question, what do you have other kind of tournament? So coaches can challenge for punching.
So in the example of wrong player, so one blue, one red, or same color, or even same wrong color, blue lands an obvious punch and both press red. The coach, well, first off, the corner judges should stand up and fix it. If they don't, the corner judge can ask for that. And what they're supposed to ask for, I think, is technical error or malfunction or something. And the idea is not the corner judges. They didn't do anything wrong. The idea is these are wrong, right? That's how they explain it. It's a malfunction. Pressed it too late or something. Okay. Anything else about this? I think they're going to pack up and we're going to move on to some other things.
Unrelated. So, when coaches jump up and call for call for referee, they go for it. My first one is I'm going to look at my corners. I look at my corners first. What do they want done first? Because let's say the coach is asking for a head contact, and my corners are going to ask for head contact. I want to go off my corners first. So I'm saying yes, we're catching this. I don't need to rely upon you. So I'm going to go to my corner first. You're asking head contact. I award it. Coach will sit down. If they say nothing or point him, I go to him. But if the corners are on top of things, I'm slow on my buttons. I'm slow on whatever. I'm slow on or I miss on the technical. Let them correct that first. The coaches will then think, okay, they're a bit slow, but they're on top of things. They feel more confident with your ability, and they won't be giving you more of a hard time. If I keep going to that coaches, they're going to think the ring's forward. It's going to be more trouble for us going down the road and more trouble. Make sense? So I always go to my corners first. What do you need? Respond to them. Then I go to the coaches.
And that's really true for anything. You go to the corner judges. You look to the corner judges. You don't walk to them. You look to them because they're hopefully going to fix it before the coaches have to do anything. And unfortunately, because of the turning without electronic chess gear, we really have no choice but to stop it and stand up. And there are some coaches, all right, and your instinct is to walk to them. No, give the corner judges a second. They should be standing up, red 2 points or red turning with points, right? If the corner judges are not standing, maybe it wasn't a valid turning kick. Go over to the coach. If the coach was smart, they would sit down because the corner judges are not fixing it. But a lot of coaches will just go and ask for it anyway. Okay? And also fix body shots, okay? We all make mistakes. If it's an obvious kick, 2 points don't go up. You press the wrong button, you press head, you press blue instead of red. Stand up, and we can add those 2 points. Or if it's a turning kick, we can add the 4 points.
If the coach raises their card, but then both of the corner judges don't like sit down, and you sit there, you still take the card, right? You still give a challenge to the coach or no?
Yeah, so almost every single time you come to the coach, you take their card. There's a few exceptions. You take their card, and then you ask. So imagine this. Fighters are fighting. Maybe it was an awesome turning kick. Maybe it hits him in the hip. Corner judges are sitting. Referee jumps up. Kalyo, Chung Hung. And he says, turning kick to the body. And I take it. Well, first off, he can't ask for, he can ask for technical. He says technical, turning kick. I come back. They're still sitting. Chung, challenge. And I think I would, do I hold up 2 fingers? If I'm asking the, no, let's say the points went up. 2 points went up for the turning kick. So I think I do this, right? So I say, Chung challenge, and I go like this. The center referee, the corner judges should have stood up by now. Go ahead, Cody, stand up. If there was one here, he should have stood up because they can tell I'm asking. So I'm doing this, and I look at him and he's doing that, and I look at him and he's doing that. Because they would have corrected it. That's the point. I wish coaches could hear this. All right, don't waste your challenge when the corner judges, especially if they've been fixing it all day and you've been a coach in that ring all day, and they've been standing up all day and adding the 2 points. And this one time they don't stand up, I wouldn't use your challenge.
Sorry, you mentioned. What are they allowed to challenge?
Okay, we have a lot more to cover. Our KPMP people, do you want to stay or do you want to go? I don't want to keep you. We've kind of got everything we need out of your system. Okay, so coach's challenge. So let's move on to that. But before we do that, I want to cover lifting the leg. We talked about it earlier. We talked about it for blocking or kicking where it lands in the stomach, okay? To me, this is one of the most difficult set of rules to follow. So can I have a volunteer who's very flexible? Okay, right here. What's your name? Come on.
My name is Lynn.
Okay, come here. And you too, please. Okay, so get in fighting stance. You guys are sparring, okay? 4 or more kicks in the air with the same leg is a penalty. So Chloe's going to kick 4 times. Go. No, in the air. That's a penalty on kick number 4. It doesn't matter if any of them scored. It doesn't matter if anyone made contact. 4 kicks, please, in the air before you put it down. 4th kick is a penalty, even if the first 3 score. First 3 could have been head kicks. The 4th kick is a penalty. The first one could have scored and not the rest. It's a penalty. The 4th kick becomes a penalty without putting it down on the ground. Any questions about that?
Let's say they throw 4 kicks in the air, 3 of them score, and the 4th one is a penalty, do the other 3 points score?
No, everything stays. Everything before the penalty is legal. If the 4th kick scores the penalty and we take it off, okay? So as a corner judge, your primary role is scoring. So when you see a valid kick, you score it. It doesn't matter that she stepped out of bounds. Stepped out of bounds, come closer. And she's still kicking, and the center referee is oblivious to her out of bounds. Kick her. Kick her, please. You still score. If that was valid, you score. She's out of bounds, or kick and grab. Hold her leg. Hold her leg. And she punches her in the chest 5 times. Score the punch. Don't worry if she's grabbing. Don't worry if she's out of bounds. Don't worry if she doesn't have her mouthpiece in. Don't worry if the clock stops. Just keep pressing. When you hear call-yo, you can stop. Okay? I made this mistake. Person was out of bounds. They went and kicked. I didn't score it. Caused a big problem. So I learned that lesson. Okay? Corner judges score. Center referees give penalties and take away scores. Sharon?
The fourth kick thing, fourth lands gets scored, you waive it
Because it was a penalty. It came after the penalty, right? Okay, so let's come back to the middle a little bit. And Lynn? So just pick your leg up, but don't kick. Who's counting?
I did. Now, 2 seconds. That's it within 3 seconds. It's in the air more than 3 seconds, penalty. It's not what you heard. Now, set.
Foot off the ground for more than 3 seconds. So I think Hanadul set penalty. It says more than 3, not 3. Doesn't matter what else she's doing. Pick up your foot, please, for 3 seconds. Hanadul set penalty. Doesn't matter if she kicked 4 times or not. Doesn't matter what the other person's doing, unless she's grabbing. That's different. That's a penalty. Doesn't matter if her leg is extended or not. It's foot up. This for more than 3 is a penalty. Kicking or not. Understood? Nobody understands? We've got 80 more minutes. Don't fall asleep yet. We'll be standing up pretty soon. Okay. Player lifts leg above their own knee level, so above her own knee level, not hers, without a follow-up attack. So that's above her own knee level, and she puts it down and does nothing. That's a penalty. Okay, above their own knee, but below the PSS. So between the knee and the PSS. Doesn't matter if it's extended. Does it matter if it's extended?
So if they come up with a cut kick and they don't follow up, penalty. They go with a cut kick and they follow up, and they don't penalize.
So the idea is they lift the leg, it's really foot, lift the foot above their own knee level, but below PSS, so in that section here, without a follow-up attack. So it doesn't matter if it's extended, doesn't matter if it's bent, doesn't matter if it's bent and extended 4 times. Well, the 4th time would be a penalty, but without attacking. So if she does it once and puts it down and attacks with something, anything, it's fine, but not below the belt.
Even a punch.
Even a punch. Okay, so Lynn, lift your own foot above your own knee, but below her belt. Now, if she kicks with that same foot, it's fine, extend it. That's fine, because it was an attack. But if she does it again, between knee and waist, and puts it down, penalty. It seems kind of strange, doesn't it? But a lot of people used to do this just to avoid as more of a defensive measure.
So they bring it up, sets it down. One will have to wait for that potential set position, then to strike them. So they come up, set it down, give them a second to set to possibly follow up with that attack. Just don't go set, kite. You're not giving them time to set that. So they come up, they bring it up, they set it down, they go with a strike or a punch, give them that half a second to make that follow-up boost, okay? Sometimes I see people come up, they set it down, boom! They didn't give the athlete the time. They were setting it up to follow. The follow-up never happened because you stopped them.
Okay, the next one. Player hops forward without kicking or extending the leg. But it has to do with still being above the knee, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if,
The slide's in there. The cut kick slide.
but if they follow up with an attack, it's okay.
They follow up with attack.
So if it's just, but the first foot has to be above the knee, doesn't it? So if the first foot is just off the ground, You can hop like that. That's fine.
I call that hard check.
Hard check or a hop. So just do lift your front leg just a little bit, but slide. That's fine. That's a slide. It's closing the distance, right? You can step forward. Same thing. That's not a step. That's a slide. Step forward. No.
Right foot in.
A step is your back leg, right? That's a step.
That's a step.
Her foot did not go above her knee. Go and sit down, please. Someone else volunteer. 2 more people volunteer. Sharon.
Oh, Sharon, here. Come on.
Sit down. Yeah, William and Sharon. Okay. So Sharon is going to hop forward, which means her foot is above her own knee and between.
Like a low cut.
It's like a low cut, and then she stops. She did not extend the leg. That's a penalty, unless she follows up with an attack, right?
So you're going to come with a cut, then follow strike. Cut, strike. Cut, strike.
So this is very similar to the previous one.
Those cuts will pop on the hip to offset the player.
What?
So he's coming in for attack, right?
So will
take him off balance and strike.
just come in straight, and she's going to do a cut kick, and she's going to land it right there. Go. Just come in straight. That's illegal because she's not attacking the chest gear.
If you follow, you come up, you hit. You're not going to score, right? You hit the hogu, you're half on, half off, then you follow up that ability. It's because you're making a contact. The cut's mainly for a stopping is what cut kicks for. They rarely score. The cut's a counter. It's to get rid of it's to stop all the cut play people have. Because if you're half on, half off, that's
Yeah, but my example is she's not touching the hogu at all.
No, you're shy.
Oh, let's say you didn't contact.
You're shy.
If it doesn't contact, and now she follows up with an attack, the other leg, that's fine because she followed up. If she does that and puts it down, it's very similar to the previous one about lifting your leg above your own knee between the PSS without attacking. The only difference here is she's moving forward. So that's illegal without a follow-up. And same thing with a hop forward is also illegal without a follow-up attack. To me, these are the hardest calls to make because they happen so fast. Okay, so the last one, which is very similar to the other ones. Yes, go ahead. This is the big X that I call the big X. Okay, so the last one is 2 cut kick motions below the PSS. So 1, 2, it doesn't matter what happens after. That's a penalty. And it makes sense because if 1 time is a penalty without an attack, then 2 times is a penalty without an attack. And it makes sense that if a step with the foot above the knee, do a step forward, please. Left leg above the knee and down is a penalty without a follow-up. All these are without follow-up, except for the last one, 2 cut kicks. It doesn't matter if you follow up because you've done 1 without a follow-up attack. So that's why it's a penalty. It's a little repetition. Okay, someone had their hands up, William.
Does the other kick have to be before this?
No. It's got to follow up with an attack, including a punch. And you have to give the player time to put the foot down to then follow up.
What about if the first was legal, it hit, but like they did one more time, but it hit lower, or like it was illegal within that space?
I don't show me what's.
So first one, it's okay, it hit.
Hit the chest gear.
Second one, my leg's still up. I just went like that.
Made contact or not?
Let's say made contact.
Then you get a penalty for kicking below the belt.
Oh, and what about no contact?
I think that's okay because that's another.
Oh,
Myth.
I missed.
Yeah.
The second one.
Yeah. Now.
That's fine then.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's the first attack below the belt, above the knee.
Oh, the first one is on the.
The reverse. First one cut low, second one hit.
That's fine because it didn't make contact. Because there was a follow-up. But this,
But the first one can't touch the rope.
if the first one touches below the waist, it's a penalty. Doesn't matter what happens next. But the exception to this is if They're both engaged. So Sharon's doing a cut kick, and William is coming in with a roundhouse to the stomach. She may make contact below the belt. You're not going to call a penalty there because it was an engagement, in action. She may have been aiming there, but the fact that he came in, it's not going to make her get a penalty. I mean, it's bad enough she got kicked in the stomach. Just go over there if you want to talk. Over there. Okay, any questions about these?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
How about if it's just not the cut kick, but a regular old double kick like that, double or triple kick?
So it's like,
Wait, what's
Just
this?
a regular pop, pop, then you can 1, 2, 3, and the first one doesn't connect, is that a penalty and 2 points?
No, the penalty is when you're not aiming at the chest gear.
Well, if the first one kind of hits low.
Then it's a penalty for below the waist.
And then, so the penalty discounts the next 2 as they connect.
The points and actions that occur after a penalty should not count. So if she kicks him low below the belt, if that warrants a penalty, and then she kicks him somewhere else, that should not score.
If you stop it in time, or you just.
Doesn't matter if you stop it in time. You say call yo, you give her the penalty. If you're not sure, right? If she landed a body kick, goes back to this. You look here, you don't see a body shot on the bottom. There's nothing to wave. There's no points to wave off. If you see a body shot and you don't know, was that the kick that she just did, or was that from 10 seconds before? You got to ask your corner judges. Did you guys score that? And they should say, yeah, we scored it, because that's their job, if they thought it was legal. And then you're going to take off the 2-point body shot. And she could have landed 4 kicks after that. We're going to take them all off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pumse? Over here. Okay, everyone else go back here where the shoes are. Pumse? Stay here. You Pumse? Over there. Okay. Can everyone stay quiet, please? Okay. The 7 people here, do you prefer Pumse? If you don't prefer Pumse, come over here, please. If you don't prefer Pumse. Okay, so everyone here prefers Pumse.
Yes, sir.
Everyone here does or does not prefer Pumse. I'm getting confused. Prefers? All of you prefer? Yes, sir? Nice and loud? Okay, prefer Pumse or not? Go over there. Go over there then. Okay. 3 of you come here, please. Okay. Pumse gets short shrift in referee seminars. And Pumse is very important. So last tournament, first or second match, players came out, did their Pumse. One was clearly better than the other, and 2 judges picked the wrong one. 100% obvious, clear. Of course, the coach comes to me, and I'm the ring captain, and I say, look, I can't change anything. You got to go to the referee chairman. And from the rest of the day, that bothered me, right? We should have the right person win. We're going to be using flags, which is essentially equivalent to hand signals. Master Lim, can you ask the girls to be quiet, please? Okay? When we have hand signals or flags, you cannot correct a mistake. If 2 or 3 hands go to the wrong, usually only 2 hands will go to the wrong person if the judges don't understand the Pumse. And once 2 hands goes up, it's too late. Okay? So for Pumse, if whoever the ring captains are going to be, ask your judges, how strong are you on Pumse? And if they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of know the Taeguk forms, don't let them judge. This is not, it's not an experimental tournament where you're going to learn how to judge Pumse. You should be learning that in your school, right? If you are first dan, and you know choreo, yes, you can judge choreo. But if you don't judge it. If there's one person competing, I don't care what level they are, if you don't know their pumse, do not sit here. I've seen 5th, 6th, 7th degrees come up here, and you got 1st degrees judging. It's very disrespectful to the athlete. It's obvious there's only one winner, there's only one competitor. If you get that, and you do not have 3 people that know the pumse, find 3 people, send them to another ring, ask me, whatever, okay? Do not sit there and judge the pumse if you don't know what it is, or if you only know it just a little. If you just turned 2nd degree, don't judge kumgong unless you know it really well, okay? Even though there's one person here, okay? I wish I could sit here and demonstrate all the pumses for you to show you what to look for, but that's not my specialty either. And I don't want to put any of you on the spot to practice your pumse. Some of you I know are really good. That's not what this is for. What this is for is there are things that are obvious, and there are things to look out for on every form. And so the easiest one for me to point out is choreo. Okay? So Instructor Sharon, Master Sharon, I should say, I'm not trying to put her on the spot, but I want her to do the first 4 moves to show the side kicks. Okay? So go ahead, Junbi. Okay, so stop after the side kicks, okay? After the 2 side kicks, on just one side. Shijak. Okay, come on. Come on, finish. Finish. Kind of fast, right? What did you guys think of her side kicks? Please speak up. Acceptable, okay? More, I need more opinions. Powerful. More opinions, please. Very accurate, clean, snap and come back, right? So on choreo, the side kicks are the most important part of the pumse. I'm not a pumse expert. You know, don't go back to your dojang and say Master Grant said those are the most important things. This is just what I've been told, and this is what I think. If the side kicks are not good, probably should not get first place unless they're by themselves. Okay. Now, Master Sharon is going to she's going to do 2 poor side kicks. And she's going to do it a little slower. She drop. Okay, so come on, finish, Poro. So first she only did 1. But what I really wanted her to do is point her toes up. Do it again, please. Point your toes up. Right? You can see the highest side kicks, quote unquote side kicks, when their toes are straight up. Those are not side kicks, right? Side kicks or toes are parallel, foot is parallel, but it's supposed to be, I don't know, what is this, 15 or 30 degrees or something? That's what it's supposed to be, right? Right? This is okay, this is not. Anywhere above, whatever that is, 90 degrees is not good. And I've fallen victim to that sitting in the chair where they do 2 really high ones and their toes are pointing up, and the other person does 2 middle ones, but their toes are pointing down. And I picked the wrong person. Because what are we looking for? Like, we're looking for these high kicks, right? It's fancier, and oh, she can kick the head. But it's not a side kick anymore. It's something else. Okay? You have to watch for little things like that. Okay? You can go back. Thank you. Side kicks, right? In other pumse, there are important parts. You can go back to your dojang in the next 2 weeks and ask your master what those are, if you don't know. Okay? But stance, as we know, is very important. Poor stance and other things are good, should lose. And what I want to say is, when you're judging, if you're thinking to yourself, what is he even talking about? What should I be looking for? What I really want you to look for is what you were taught. Your masters taught you pumse. Hopefully you absorbed it. Look for that. Don't look for something flashy or high kicks if that's not what the pumse calls for. Don't accept something that's too fast. There's a lot of moves that are timed, 5 or 8 seconds. and they go too fast, even in choreo. Right? How long is this supposed to be? 8. Which one? Well, so it's 5 to 8. I'm pretty sure it's 8. Now, so some of the rules just changed, and I intended to bring them, but I forgot. So I will try to email them. Some of the Pumse rules changed. The timing changed. Some of them are now 5 or 8. Okay? But this is a common one. I mean, if they're beautiful sidekicks and they mess that up, maybe they can win. But they do this and they don't know timing, how can they win? And so if it's 8 seconds, it's between 7 and 9, right? Nobody's perfect. We give them between 7 and 9. If it's 5 seconds, we give them between 4 and 6. If you don't know what those timing moves are, ask your master between now and the tournament. Like I said, I'll try to send out the list. A lot of times for me, judging Pumse, that's the difference between winning and losing. They're almost always too fast. Don't be shy to judge down Pumse because they're too fast. Really, no one goes too slow. Okay, any questions on that so far? Okay, so everyone standing here, do you know how to give the commands? We say calling, William. So William's going to demonstrate, right? And the idea is, before he does that, so there may be chairs here for the competitors who are next up. This is what this represents, the competitors that are next up. Could be sitting, could be standing. We know we have to be organized. We have to come over here and make sure we got the right competitors, make sure we got blue and red, right? Blue is on this side, red is on that side, just like sparring. What I do, if she's a competitor, if Celine is a competitor, and she's blue, I will tell her, stand here and watch him. So she just goes right into her position. Okay, well, over there. Okay, hopefully she doesn't sprint like that, right? If that's the position you want them to start, line them up there, right? And I would line up Yao. I would line up Yao and I would say, watch him. So come back, Celine. You know, adults maybe know where to go, but most of the kids don't. So get them ready, put them there. And if there's a third one, say, hey, you're going against the winner. Okay? Now, the younger they are, the lower belts they are, if they don't know the Korean, say it in English if they look lost. But if they're older, they should know the Korean. Okay? So William is going to demonstrate. To the middle. No. Stay there. To the middle. No. Go back. So to tell them to come in, it's here. Straight out. So you're telling them to come in. Shiljong. That's how I say it. Say it out loud. Okay? And you're pointing to the middle. So if one comes and one doesn't, maybe he's a little kid, has no idea, Celine comes in, just say, come on in. Right? You can help. Now, do we really want them next to each other? I really want the Pumse people to answer. If you prefer Pumse, you should know this. Do we really want them standing next to each other? Because they're going to bump into each other. Little tiny kids, probably okay. Once you get to, I don't know, 10 or 12, no. So if I was William, I would point at one of them and say, take one step back. And half the time they both do it, or he takes 2 steps or 3 steps. And we also don't want it too far away, because then he goes off the mat. Okay? Don't penalize someone for going off the mat in this situation, in a local tournament. Right? This is not world-class Pumse, it's regular. Okay, so if it's good enough, let him be that far back. But we also don't want him too close. Right? Especially choreo or something where we're going forward a lot. It's better to have them too far than too close, because now you got judges going like this. Right? But starting off way back there is not really a problem. Go.
You know how you said like if you're too close, one has to step back. Instead of stepping back, can we also go to the center?
You can, but then you really got people going way too far. This, possibly his last move is way back here. Judges can still see, but I don't want him going way over here off the mat. Because if you're a Pumse athlete and you see yourself getting near the edge of the mat, what are you probably doing? What are you feeling if you're getting next to the edge of the mat, if you're a Pumse expert? Anybody? You're probably getting nervous because you're about to get a penalty for going off the mat. There's penalties for going off the mat. We don't give them in a local tournament. So we don't want an athlete in that position to think, oh, shoot, I'm about to go off the mat. So I'd rather just go a little bit forward, a little bit back. Okay, continue, William. Okay, so nice tight knife hand, right? So chariot with some strength behind it. All of you, left hand. And when you say kunye, sharp, right to your solar plexus. Go ahead. Okay. And now you have to wait. Some people bow in slow motion. You have to wait for them to come back up. And then he switches hands. Come from the bottom up. William. From the bottom up. From the bottom up. So from here, up. Junbi. Okay? And some of them are in slow motion on Junbi. You have to let them finish. You have to be patient. Let them come all the way to here, another second, and then straight to the ceiling. Well, do some Pumse. Come on, show us. Right? So that's a perfect example. Okay, let's stop here. That's a perfect example. Maybe she starts and he doesn't. Younger, lower kids, what would you tell them, William? Start, go. Go, start, go. Right? Don't interrupt her. Don't get her attention. Go. And if he wants to stand there, let him stand there. We'll get a low score, right? Now, littler kids, it's a little different. Maybe you let her finish. Maybe you give him a second chance by himself. But hopefully that doesn't happen, okay? Okay, a good question. So it happens frequently with younger kids or lower belts. They do a few moves, maybe they get halfway, and they stop. They don't know what to do. Okay? I think they're supposed to ask, can I start over? You're not supposed to ask them, do you want to start over? I think they're allowed one restart. I think this is in the world-class rules as well. Okay? And in a restart, they start with a 0.6 below. So in real points, you have 10 points. You lose 0.6 just to restart. So the chance that they're going to come back and win is very low. Okay, but they do get a restart. But I think they have to ask for it, don't they? They have to ask for it. Okay. Now, if it's a little kid, you might want to come over and say, "Do you want to restart? Go ahead." But if you're a corner judge, if that person who restarted does not do an excellent job, there's no way you can give them the win. And maybe the other person's really, really bad, and you can give them the win. But you better be sure, because you're going to have some upset coaches and parents. Okay, answer the question? Okay. Now, there are times when they're doing their Pumse. She does the first half right. The second half, who knows? She's all over the place. She's here. Just say poro. Go ahead, William. Say poro. No, poro, like finish, right? Paro, right? You don't have to wait for her to figure it out. She's totally lost. Don't give them 5 minutes to figure it out. Just end it. Okay? Especially if they've gone all over the place. They're mixing up their Pumse. Okay, so paro is, right? And if they're not doing it and one of the kids is here, finish. Let's say it in English, right? We don't want them standing there, okay? And so they should be standing like this, both of them. Okay? There's many ways to do this. I'm just telling you the way I want it done. So by then, the corner judges, the referees should already know who won, obviously. Blue should be on your left hand. That's blue. This is red. And as soon as you hear paro, you should be ready. You don't have to, I don't think you have to, yeah, I guess you do have to go like that. And then he's going to say, judges, go ahead. or score. And he's going to put his right hand up. That's your left. Try your right hand. Right? He's pointing to them. Judges, score. As soon as you hear score, put your flag up immediately. Okay? Now, we would normally leave them up. Normally, we won't be this close together. You know, in theory, use your other hand. In theory, it's fully extended on an angle, just like he is. Right? It's not up, it's on an angle. We won't be close enough where you can accidentally hit each other in the face, okay? And when you hear score, it better be up. And you don't look at each other because you don't know. If you don't know, just pick. You got to pick someone. Do it. Try one more time.
Judges, score.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she, I forgot your name. She looked up at him. I don't know why. Avoid. Okay, I hear you. Try to avoid looking to the side. There's a picture of me on the website doing that. Okay, if there was only one competitor, which flag are you raising? Blue. Blue is always on that side. When there's only one competitor, they have to be blue. They have to be the first name. The top name is blue. I hear a lot of people say, if there's only one, you raise your right hand. I hear a lot of high-level people say it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's in a rule book somewhere. But if for this tournament, if there's only one, raise your left hand or flag. And if you're the corner judge, or if you're the coordinator, we call him the coordinator, I would do something like this. There's only one. Don't forget left hand, or don't forget blue, before we start. It's really embarrassing when one or two of you will raise a red flag. Okay? Okay. Someone switch. You two switch. William, switch with one of the ladies. Okay. So two more competitors. Who are they? They've been told where to stand outside the mat, right? And your name is, don't know. Soyeon is going to go next. You know how to do this? If you don't know, just tell me. Okay, do you know how to do it? You know how to do it? Come over here, quick. So the way, Mark will do it right next to him. Good, step back. Okay, the way I think about this, there's four main hand signals. Four main hand signals. But we really do more than that. There's just four main ones. Okay, so these two are our competitors. You can do it together. I'm going to do it with you. So we are, technically, we're supposed to be facing that way. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so we turn diagonal, we face them. And we're on the mat, right? We're on the mat when I think we're on the mat when we're doing this. Okay, so when we're ready, we've identified the competitors, we've looked at them, they're not down tying their shoes, right? They got their flags in position. So we do it like this, all three of us together. Chiljong.
Chiljong.
Right? You're pointing to the middle of the mat, right? And now, do we want them right next to each other? Tell someone what to do, Mark.
Man, you scoot a bit to your right.
No.
Side.
Go one step back. Right? Scoot a bit to your right. Scoot a bit. No, that doesn't mean anything. Just something like one step back or one step forward. And if they both do it, say, no, not you, you. Okay? And then, so but we drop our hand. Okay? So now, chariot.
Chariot.
Kunye.
Kunye.
And we wait. Drop our left hand. Put our, from the middle, from our hip, Junbi.
Junbi.
And we wait. Now, what if she's not doing Junbi? Go back. She stands here. What are you going to do? What do you think what do we do if she doesn't do Junbi? Anybody have an idea? Mark said, wait. So maybe say it again.
Junbi.
And she stands there. If it's a little kid, probably say it in English. You know, get ready. You can kind of do it like that. Don't say fighting stance. Say Junbi, right? Show her. If she still doesn't want to do it, it's okay. Start. Shijak. Okay? Just do some pumse over there. And she's just frozen, right? She doesn't know what to do anymore. She's doing an excellent pumse. Okay? You can finish. We're not here to teach them how to do pumse. If she doesn't want to do it, Fine. You've shown her, you said it in English. You don't want to, she doesn't know. Maybe if you know she doesn't know English, maybe you happen to know what her language is, you can say it in another language. There's nothing wrong with that if you know more than one language. But if they don't want to do their poem say, they want to stand like that, let them. It's okay. Littler kid, a little different, but older, just let them stand there. Okay, so they finish their poem say. She actually starts and does hers. Okay, now they're both finished. What do you guys say? Right? And it doesn't really matter what they do. If they want to stand like this, fine. If they want to stand like this, fine. Just let them. And now, Mark, can you do it? Okay. And they've gone up. The person behind the desk is keeping track. We know who the winner is, right? You put your arms down after a few seconds. The person scoring it hopefully will say, I got it, or good, or arms down. And the last part, you can say go back. You can say sit down. But the proper term is toijan. So you're going from the middle to the outside this time. Everyone together? Everyone stand here? Toijan. And then they will walk back. Right? So the chiljong is telling them to come in, the toijong is telling them to come out. If my pronunciation is not perfect, I apologize. So these commands are on this paper that I sent you. Okay. If you're a native speaker and you want to correct me, I'm more than willing, but here's the commands. Yeah, just come in and leave. That's what I said, right? Toijong? Okay. I say toijong. It's about the best I can say it. Okay. All the commands are on the paper. Okay. And okay, let's have 3 more people. Let's switch, ladies and gentlemen. Let's switch. Can someone take a chair here, please, quickly? You have a question, Kyle?
Wait, it's okay. I can try.
Yeah, go. Sit. I need 3 people to sit there. Okay, I need 4 people standing here to give hand signals, quickly. If you're a Pumse lover, get over here. I want the people who prefer Pumse to practice this. They're coming. If you're a Pumse fan, I need 4 of you here. You know them now, hand signals? Okay, come all the way up, please. Don't be shy. So when I talk about the 4 main hand signals, it's these 4. Chariot, kunye. All together. Chariot, kunye. Pause, right? Patience. Now, Junbi, shijak. The enter and exit is really not as important as those 4. And if you think about it, if any of you are instructors in your school, you do that over and over and over. Chariot, kunye, Junbi, shijak. You do it over and over. You just don't do it with your hands. You do it with your mouth only. It's left hand, right hand, right hand. If you can remember those 4, the chiljong and the choijong, I don't care about. And patience. 2nd and 3rd are patient, right? Chariot, they're probably already in chariot anyway. Kunye, okay, the slow motion people, you have to wait. Junbi, the slow motion people, you have to wait. And then shijak, okay? And so we call this the caller or the coordinator. So once they're going, if they're getting close to you, back up. If they're not close to you, stay. And as they're going away, come back on, get in position. Okay? Now let's finish it. Go ahead, volunteers. No hand signal for paro. Say it loud. Go ahead. Okay? And then hopefully they come back to some kind of position like this. And then what do you do? What do you do? Right? Pretty easy, right? Okay. Any questions about what we just learned? Well, because we're not using hands, no. Let me have this, please. You know, there's a prescribed way to do everything. Probably something like this. So you can go up right away.
She means the coordinator when they say judges, or where's that hand coming from?
Here.
Here.
Yeah. You're only doing your right hand. This is not it's not sparring. It's just from here. Is that what you meant? Go ahead, William.
You're gonna have them practice the word stare, or you just want us to put it down after a few seconds?
Just put it down after a few seconds. Okay, any other questions about Pumse? Okay, when you're finding the athletes and you're getting them on the mat, make sure you, especially little younger kids, call them by their first name and their last name. A lot of people have the same first name. Might be 3 people in your bracket. You get the wrong kid up first. It's not the end of the world, but make sure you know who the athletes are for sparring as well. Okay? Any more questions about what we just learned? Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with sparring. Let's go ahead and put the chairs away, and Taekwondo instructors, let's put away the mats and the chairs. Short, just water break while we clean up, and then we're gonna continue. Yeah, they go in the back somewhere. You know, these are just out here, right? Okay, everyone, let's come back right away, please. Let's come back right away, everyone, please. Okay, everyone, let's come on back to the mat. Okay, we got 30 minutes left. Let's make good use of them, okay? You can gather around, you can sit or stand. This is going to be mostly talking. Okay, no need to stand up unless you want to. We're going to finish up with coaches' challenges and what they can challenge and what they can't. The first thing is the challenge has to be within 5 seconds of the action. So if the action occurs and they wait more than 5 seconds, they cannot challenge it. So in theory, that means they have 5 seconds to stand up and do this. If they're already up and it takes 30 seconds to get your attention, that's fine. They're up within 5 seconds. They're supposed to stand. If they're sitting and they do this, it's okay, but then tell them next time stand up. Because a lot of people do this, their head, they do things like that, and we don't want to be second guessing whether they're challenging or not. So 5 seconds. Sharon, would you mind? In general, they can only challenge one action. There are some exceptions, but that's a general rule. So if they want to challenge, invalidate a penalty, they can't ask to invalidate a penalty and a head kick. You can ask for one thing. The coach can ask for any penalty on their player, on their fighter, to be invalidated. Any penalty. We went through all the penalties. They can ask for any penalty to be overturned. Any penalty. Misconduct, below the belt, anything. But on the opponent, they can only ask for 4. And this is critical. If you only remember 4 things, or if you only study 4 things before the tournament, please study these 4 things. On the opponent, they can ask for falling down. Falling down is any part of the body except for the feet touching the ground. They can ask for crossing the boundary line, an entire foot out of bounds, crossing the boundary line. They can ask for attacking after Kallyo. Right? Kallyo, the arm is down, and then the attack starts. Remember, foot is in the air, it's fine. No obligation to retract or to not kick. They can ask for that on the opponent. Attacking the fallen opponent, they can ask for. Okay? Do you remember any of the four I just said, sir? Which ones?
Stepping out of bounds, falling, attacking after Kallyo is called.
Anyone remember the last one? Attacking the fallen opponent. Okay. Does anyone know why those are the four that they can ask for on the opponent? The reason those are the four they can ask for is usually they're very obvious. Everyone in the gym can see that I stepped out. So if the center referee misses it, the one person in the gym who doesn't see it, distracted, blocked, something else, they want to give the coach a chance to ask for it. Because every parent that's filming caught it. And they don't want parents coming back later going, look, you stepped out of bounds, didn't get called, my player lost because of that. Same for falling. Falling is usually pretty obvious. Sometimes it's not. People do back spinning kicks and they barely touch the floor. That's not obvious. But when they fall, it's usually pretty obvious. So imagine, I've seen it many times. Person falls, center referee doesn't call it. Maybe they think they're not supposed to. Maybe they think it was Kallyo and then fell. But everyone in the gym can see that they fell or that they went out of bounds. And same for attacking after Kallyo. There's a judgment call there, right? Kallyo here, kick lands. Well, now there's a little bit of judgment. Was the foot off the floor? But that can be seen by everybody as well in the whole gym. And the corner judges can see it as well. And attacking the fallen opponent. If they're down and I'm kicking, elbowing, punching, it's pretty obvious. But I've been there many times where I don't call those four, and I have a reason for it. And a lot of times, it's this. They're out of bounds. The foot is still in. Part of it is in. It looks like they're out of bounds. And the coach, and it's here. And that coach way over there kind of looks like he went out of bounds, but I didn't call it. He's got the worst vantage point. He can ask for it. It's fine. The corner judges better be on their toes, or at least be paying attention, because you're going to be asked. If it's not IVR, you're going to be asked. So whenever there's a coach's challenge, if there's no IVR, the corner judges are going to be asked. So they're going to say, stepping out of bounds. You know, blue stepped out of bounds. It's the red coach. If you don't know, so when the center referee calls you for a meeting, they're going to say, red coach is asking for blue out of bounds. It's either yes or no. Yes, he went out of bounds. No, he didn't. You don't say, well, I couldn't really see, your foot was in the way his foot was. You either saw it or you didn't. So we're not giving penalties if you don't know. If you don't know, you say no. No, or say, I don't know if he went out of bounds, basically. We're not going to give the penalty. Does that make sense? For all of those four. Those are the only four. So when the coach says, this is no head contact division, the kid keeps kicking my player in the head. It's sad, but it's automatic reject. Hopefully the center referee is calling the penalties. But it's not always a head kick. It hits here, and the coach thinks it was a head kick. Cannot give it. Same with punches to the face. Sometimes they're obvious. Center referee misses it. We all miss it. And they want to ask, hey, punch to the face. Unfortunately, it's an automatic reject. Everyone understand that? These four. So if the center referee doesn't know, and they call a meeting and they say, blue coach is asking for punch to the face by red, and you're a corner judge, what should you say to the center referee? Anybody? Not you, sir. Anybody else have an opinion on what you should say to the center referee? Nobody? You should say, sir, the coach can't ask for that. You're helping the center referee. If I don't know what the rules are, I need you to help me. Sir, he can't ask for that. I'll say, oh, you're right. And I'll go back and reject immediately. It doesn't matter anymore if it's not one of these four. Everyone understand that? It may have been an obvious punch to the face. Doesn't matter. Say, sir or ma'am, he can't ask for that. If I say, you don't know what you be quiet, just answer my question, then you just obey, right? Because I'm the center referee and I'm allowed to make mistakes. But once you say what your opinion is, that's the end of it. Those four, please memorize those four. They cannot ask for a body shot. We talked about that. The most obvious body shot possible, didn't score. 2 points, body shot. Bam, pocket, queso. Any questions about the four that the coach can ask for on the opponent? Okay. Any to invalidate any penalty against their own player, any penalty. Okay, now, technical points. So technical points for a turning kick. We kind of covered this earlier. Turning kick in non-world class, so you don't have the electronic chest gear. Hopefully, if it's a valid kick, you're going to push once for body, you're going to stand up and say referee. But again, maybe you don't think, the corner judge doesn't think it's a turning kick. Maybe he put his foot down in between. It's no longer a turning kick. Coach stands up, 2 points, turning kick. And you're either going to agree or you're going to make an X. Make sense? Okay. If I did that, if I went over and I got his card and I came back and you said to yourself, we didn't even score the body shot. And I say, okay, he's asking for technical. What should you tell me, William? So the corner judges didn't score the body shot at all. I don't know what's happening. I'm the center referee. I can't keep track of everything. He asked for technical. I call a meeting. Well, I guess in that case, let me correct myself. I would do this and I would do this, okay? If I'm doing that, we're not having a meeting. Probably what you should do is go like this. That's asking me to come over. I'll come over and William will say, no, he'll say we didn't score the body kick. So I'm making a mistake, right? He's helping me. I'm making a mistake trying to give 2 points when there was no body shot to begin with. If there's no body shot, there can't be a technical. This happens a lot. I don't know if you guys scored the body shot or not. I looked, it looked like you guys score. I'm getting this card, I'm asking for technical. Cody will say, sir, and then Cody will say, sir, we didn't score that. And maybe I think he's wrong. Maybe it did score. I'll go and check. But I need you guys to help. Everyone understand that? Okay. Okay. Mechanical malfunction or error in time management. This is a hard one. I think this is a hard one. A lot of this is PSS working. What does PSS stand for?
Protect and score system.
Protect and score system. That's electronic chest gear. I've seen this many times. Kid is kicking left and right with electronic chest gear. No points are going up. And I'm thinking, something's wrong here. So this is the world-class ring, right? The coach will say, I want to ask for a PSS check, a system check, okay? In the first round, what the center referee would do is not take his card. I go to Blue's coach, I would not take his card. I would go back to the middle with my own card, and I'd ask for a hardware check. And whether it's working or not, that's the end of it. If it's not working, we're going to fix it. If it's working, I put my card away and we continue. We've shown that it's working in the first round. Everyone understand that? In the second round or the third round, coach asks for equipment check. This case, I take his card, Chung, challenge, and I'll say hardware test. They'll pop up the hardware test. So he's Blue's coach. He thinks when Blue kicks on red, it's not scoring. There's something wrong with red's chest gear. The proper way to do it is only have Blue test. Red is not asking for a test. He doesn't get to test. You don't do both sides. Blue's coach thinks there's something wrong with red's chest gear, sensor, something. So you put them back in the middle, you put their arms up, you let Blue kick the chest gear. If it pops up, it's working. You let Blue kick the headgear. If it pops up, it lights up, it's working. So that means his challenge was invalid. Do you agree? Because of that, his player gets a gamjang for misconduct. because a lot of times it's a stalling technique. Okay, now if blue is kicking 3 or 4 times and it's not working, there's obviously something wrong with the system. We give him back his card, we fix it, no penalty. Second and third round. Okay, a lot of high-level referees say always test both sides. As far as I know, it's not the proper way. You might do it in a local tournament with little color belt kids to show both sets of parents are all working, but you're really supposed to just do the side that asks for it. And they have to have a card to ask for it. First, second, or third round, they have to have a card. So sometimes it's obvious, like I said, kick, 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 no score. I probably, in a local tournament, color belts, I should just test it as a center referee. But maybe I think, no, those are not really good kicks. They're not good. It doesn't surprise me. I look at the corner judges and they're like, if they're going like this, like, I don't know what's up. Maybe there's something wrong, right? But if they're like, they're set, they're looking, and he asks for it, and he doesn't have a card, what happens? If a coach challenges and doesn't have their challenge card, what happens? Sharon doesn't know. Anyone know? It's a penalty for misconduct. They're stopping the match for no reason. We don't want them to have an advantage to give their competitor a breather. Now, you know, color belts, sometimes you kind of say, sir, you don't have a card. You can't challenge anymore. You just, you know, let it go maybe once, a little bit of education, but not in world class. Okay? And this also goes for what we talked about earlier, the punches. The punches, where one goes up and one, you know, different timing or one on each side. That's the equipment malfunction. Okay? They have to have a card to ask for that. Okay?
First round, they challenge. I mean, they ask for a equipment check. Whether or not it was actually defective or not, you give it back.
Yes.
Okay, but it's only after the second or third. Let's say it wasn't effective.
If it's working properly, you take their card and you give them a gamjan for misconduct. Okay, so that goes for the punches as well. Okay. The next thing they can challenge. We talked about giving a penalty, and points went up after the penalty. So I give the player the penalty, and I forget to take off the points. The corner judges, sir, take off the points. Ma'am, take off the points. Maybe I don't hear them. I'm zoned in. I'm ready to start, and they challenge, right? I go to them and they say, sir, you know, you're supposed to take off the technical. I'm going to the coach. Sometimes it's obvious, or I'm supposed to remove the point. Sometimes I realize he's right. I'm going to give him back his card. I'm going to go and fix it. But maybe I don't agree with him. Maybe the kick was before the penalty, and then the penalty occurred, and he wants me to take off the points. I don't agree with him. So I'll take it, and I'll challenge, and I'll call the corner judges, and I'll say, did the kick come before or after the penalty? It's not always clear. Okay, so that's forgetting to invalidate points after gamjan. Or maybe I only invalidate 3 of them. I'm supposed to invalidate 6. Maybe there's 2 head kicks in a row. I only remember to take off 3. Understand? Anybody? So in the ring, if you're all are this quiet, what's going to happen? Nobody knows what's going to happen if you're all this quiet? Does anyone know what's going to happen if you're all this quiet? Maybe someone can yell out an answer so I can hear it. It'd be pandemonium. This is just short of 4 hours, and no one can answer out loud. The tournament, the referee meeting is at 7:15. probably be there until at least 8 p.m. 12 plus hours with maybe an hour break maximum. So you have to be as loud and authoritative in the 11th hour as you are in the first hour. Does everyone understand that? Okay. I'm asking relatively simple questions, and I'm not getting any answers, maybe except for a few head shakes. So for the next 12 minutes, can everyone be really loud, please? Okay. Wrong identification of contestant scoring a punch. That's what I said earlier. They can challenge that. They can say blue punched, but they identified the wrong player. That's if red gets it. And it happens. We all press the wrong button at times. They have to have the card for that. Head kick that is not scored. They can ask for that. Even in the world-class ring, they can ask for that. And all the coaches have to say is head kick. They don't have to say turning head kick, crescent kick, backspin. They just have to say head kick. And the judges and the referee should know if it was a turning kick or not. Okay? When they want to invalidate the penalty, they all say is invalidate penalty. They don't have to say he didn't fall out of bounds, sir, take it off and do a jig. Just say invalidate the penalty on my player. If to ask for the penalty on the other player, now they have to be a little more clear. They can't just say penalty on the other player. They have to say penalty for falling down on the other player. Everyone understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How hard does a head kick have to be to score?
Enough to shake their head.
Anybody else?
There's junior rules and there's senior rules.
Junior rule. Okay, that's a good point. So let's talk about full contact first. How hard does it have to be? So is your answer the same? Turn the head? Okay, so we have one answer for full contact, turn the head. Any other answers? Speak it up.
Making contact.
Just making contact. Okay. So in world class and light contact, it just has to touch the head. A toenail, that's a score. Headgear or face. This is a head kick. This is a head kick. There's no power level required. Any contact with the head is a score. Okay. The only difference we have in junior safety rules in light is if it's too hard. If it's too hard, no head kick. But it's the same required. Full contact or light contact. Just a touch. Just a graze is all it takes. And if they do this, bam, bam, that's 2 head kicks. If they do it 3 times, how many kicks? If they do it 4 times, how many head kicks? So Cody, say it louder.
4 head kicks, 3 head kicks, 1 penalty.
3 head kicks and 1 penalty, right? Because 4 kicks, 4th kick is a penalty regardless if it scores. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen someone do 4 head kicks. I think maybe I've seen 3, but 2 comes up quite a bit. A lot of younger athletes that are very flexible. They pick it up and they go bam, bam. Okay. Make sure you're scoring. 2 head kicks. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, what if there's a head kick and I kick James and it scores and his coach thinks it should not have scored? Can he challenge that? No, right? There's only 4 things he can challenge, and that's not one of them. Actually, I said that wrong. Those are penalties. You're correct. He cannot ask for a head kick to be removed. The coach of the kicker can ask for it to be added. Okay?
Would that be the same case if, say, opponent gets a, they miss their head kick, but they still get the score?
No, you cannot ask for the opponent's kick to be taken away. Okay? Unless it was after a penalty. That's different. So if the penalty is called, the head kick lands, center referee is supposed to take it off. If they don't take off the kick, the coach can ask for it. Okay, let's just finish up with body shots. Can any body shot be asked for by the coach? What if it's electronic chest gear? Does the answer change? No, right? Still 5 minutes left. It can still be loud. What if it was so obvious? The turning kick or the kick, the body kick, whatever it was so obvious. Maybe you even counted to 10. Can the coach ask for a body kick? Okay. So what would you do? We kind of talked about this earlier. Strongest kick, you count to 10. Maybe it doesn't ever fall down. And you're the center referee. Should you do anything? No score. Louder. Well, you've already counted. You counted to 10. Should you as a center referee do anything else? No. Unless you think maybe it really shouldn't have scored. Maybe you think it was a groin kick or just hit the hips. Okay, then you'll check. Okay. End of the presentation. We're still going to take some pictures and so forth. Are there any questions at all? Anything I didn't cover? Anything at all that I did cover? Now's your chance.
Just between the round thing, like if it's a tie score on the board, how do you
okay, so what I forgot. So if it's electronic scoring, the system will tell you the winner. If sometimes it's an exact tie, then the 3 judges, including the center referee, makes the decision. Well, yes. Every once in a while, it's an exact tie. Everything is tied. The 3 judges will make the decision. Okay, go quick. It's just kind of scoot over here while they're setting up the chairs. Go ahead. So at the end of the second round or third round, it's just, chung sung or hung sung. Just like judges score. Same hand motion. In between rounds, the first round, or if it's the first round, you go straight and you look. If it's blue, if it's red, you're going here. If someone wins the second round, it's here. And you don't have to look anymore. And if it's the second round, it's the other player, you do this. The what? I took too long. I ran out of time. The idea is that sometimes there's a tie. Go. They get 1. If they win, they get it back. If they lose, they lose for the match. Yeah, it'll either be 30 seconds or 20-second break, but one of those. Questions? Last questions? I don't plan to. They're supposed to know the rules. Last questions, anybody? All right, let's finish it up. Any other final comments, sir? Okay, everyone stand up. Sharon, you say something?
Everyone face the referee chairs.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Shoot. Okay.